Colton Choi, a student from Unjang Middle School, sprawls casually in his desk chair, confidently recounting how he brutalized another student, claiming the idiot became his bitch after just a few blows to the dome. Another student chimes in, finding the act epic. The classroom atmosphere is thick with casual delinquency. Colton Choi continues to lounge, while other students openly discuss going for a smoke, asking, "Got any cigs?" and agreeing, "Yeah bro, let's go for a smoke." In the foreground, Eugene Gale sits hunched, observing the scene with palpable anxiety. A close-up reveals Eugene Gale's distressed face, glasses perched on his nose, as he laments his misfortune. He internally curses his random designation to Unjang High, a hell full of delinquents, feeling utterly fucked. An overhead shot of the classroom establishes the setting, with students scattered at their desks. The narrator emphasizes that it hasn't even been a week since school started. A pair of feet casually propped up on a desk symbolizes the established power dynamic. The narrator reveals that the hierarchy is already in place, despite the early days of the school year. The illustrative panel defines the stark social strata. A nobleman stands subserviently while a king reclines, indicating the rigid power structure that dictates the school environment. The narrator explains the concept of a bread shuttle, a derogatory term for weaker students forced into errands in Korea. Eugene Gale's internal monologue reveals his grim determination. "I can't let that happen all over again in high school." Colton Choi's face contorts in a sneer, a stream of saliva exiting his mouth with a sharp FTE sound effect targeting another unsuspecting student. The spit lands with a disgusting splat on the back of a student's head, the impact visibly jarring the victim as Colton Choi watches from behind. The targeted student's face is shown in close-up, covered in sweat, eyes wide with suppressed fear and humiliation as he endures the degrading act. Colton Choi grins menacingly, calling the victim zealot and mocking him, asking, "You're supposed to melt away when the hydralisk spits on you. Where's the reaction, bitch?" The bullied student seethes in silent fury, a splat sound effect lingering. He internally vows, "Fuck, I'll fucking kill him one day. I swear, one day." Eugene Gale looks down, his face a mask of quiet despair, as the narrator observes. At that moment, and this may have been pathetic and selfish to do so, Eugene Gale continues to reflect, his internal thoughts laid bare. "But I thought to myself, what a relief that it isn't me." His expression is one of profound, shameful relief. Colton Choi's face fills the frame, his tongue darting out with a suggestive lap sound, indicating his predatory gaze is now searching for a new target. Eugene Gale recoils in terror, clutching his head as he realizes Colton Choi is looking his way, internally screaming, "Hey, he's looking my way. No, no." Meanwhile, Gray Yun sleeps peacefully at his desk, oblivious. From an overhead view of the classroom, Colton Choi's cruel voice echoes, pointing to Gray Yun. "That loser over there, don't you think he kinda looks like a chick? All short and pale looking. Might look alright if we force him to wear a dress." Close-up of Gray Yun's delicate features is shown as Colton Choi continues his taunts. "Look, even his lashes are long. Cuckoo." Another student identifies him as Gray Yun, remarking, "Even his name is feminine." A third student then questions, "The fuck? What if he really is a girl?" Colton Choi's smug, predatory smile widens. He suggests a vile plan. "Then how about we take a look and see what he's got down there?" Cuckoo cuckoo. Colton Choi stands over the still sleeping Gray Yun, his shadow looming. He taps the desk with a casual tap-tap, initiating his malicious intent. Colton Choi leans in close to Gray Yun, a chilling SSK sound effect emphasizing the ominous silence before the storm. The violent crash. Colton Choi grabs Gray Yun by the collar, lifting him from his seat. Gray Yun's eyes widen in shock, gasping, "OH-SHIT," as Colton Choi's grip tightens with a squeeze. Colton Choi's expression shifts from smugness to utter surprise and disgust as he realizes Gray Yun is indeed male, exclaiming, "OH, he's a man all right. He's packin' too. This son of a bitch." Gray Yun's face is now resolute, a steely gaze replacing his earlier fear. Off-panel, Colton Choi's voice continues to express shock. "This dude, he's got an anaconda down there." A sudden, brutal crack and whack reverberate as Colton Choi's face distorts in pain, indicating a powerful, unexpected strike. Gray Yun, no longer a victim, delivers a precise punch to Colton Choi's throat, the impact sending Colton Choi reeling. Colton Choi stumbles back, clutching his throat, gasping, "Ark, my throat, what the hell?" Gray Yun stands firm, while another student reacts in shock, and a tap sound effect marks the chaos. Eugene Gale and the previously bullied student stare in disbelief. Eugene Gale expresses his astonishment. "Damn, what is that kid thinking?" Colton Choi, enraged and in midair, screams, "You fucking bastard, you've got a death wish, huh?" As more whack and whap sound effects indicate the ongoing struggle. A close-up shot reveals Gray-Yun's hands skillfully wrapping a piece of cloth, likely a tie or belt, around Colton Choi's wrist, signaling a strategic maneuver in the escalating fight. The sickening crunch, Gray-Yun tightens the improvised restraint around Colton Choi's ankle, eliciting a pained "H" from the struggling bully. Gray-Yun stands calmly over Colton Choi, who is now completely subdued, kneeling with his hands and one leg bound, his earlier bravado replaced by helpless fury. Colton Choi glares up, his face contorted in rage, demanding Gray-Yun to release him, cursing him as a fucking bastard. Gray-Yun's grip tightens on Colton Choi's hair, forcing his head back as Colton Choi screams, enraged at being called a little shit. Swift, brutal impact lands across Colton Choi's cheek, the force visibly distorting his face and sending a spray of dust into the air. Colton Choi's eyes widen in disbelief and renewed fury as he turns his head, questioning Gray-Yun's audacity to slap him. Another sharp slap echoes, blood erupting from Colton Choi's nose as the relentless assault continues. With a bloody nose and tear-filled eyes, Colton Choi still manages to snarl a threat, vowing revenge once he breaks free. Blows keep coming, a stream of blood gushing from Colton Choi's nose as Gray-Yun's strikes land with brutal efficiency. Gray-Yun's gaze remains cold and unwavering as he raises his hand again, asking Colton Choi if he truly fails to comprehend his predicament. Another resounding slap lands, Gray-Yun delivering repeated blows to the tide and kneeling Colton Choi, asserting his dominance. Colton Choi's face is a canvas of defeat, bruised, bleeding, and streaming with tears, his defiance finally broken. A chilling silence hangs in the classroom as Gray-Yun stands over the defeated Colton Choi, the other students watching in stunned quiet. Two students, including Eugene Gale, stare wide-eyed, utterly shocked by the display, exclaiming that they've never witnessed anything so awesome. Gray-Yun leans in close to the battered Colton Choi, delivering a chilling warning if he ever dares to cause a scene in his classroom again. Gray-Yun's eye gleams with cold malice as he finishes his threat, promising to gouge out Colton Choi's eyes. Introducing Gray-Yun, a student whose middle school background remains unknown, an enigmatic figure after his brutal display of power. The scene shifts to a different classroom as someone calls out, "Hey, Alex," through the door labeled 1 to 8. Ben Park, from Unjang Middle School, teases Alex Go about his plan to crush Colton Choi, questioning if he'll be the one getting crushed instead. Alex Go retorts, asking what Ben Park wants. Ben Park delivers surprising news. Colton Choi was already beaten today. Alex Go and other students react with shock, asking who the victor was and from which class. Ben Park, with a smirk, recounts the rumors. Some kid named Gray something from Colton Choi's class tied him up and slapped him senseless. The other students react with disbelief to Ben Park's story, questioning the idea of someone being tied up and beaten, calling it the wackiest imagination. One student scoffs, suggesting Ben Park add more realism to his next tale, sarcastically asking if Gray-Yun is a medieval baron tying people up for lashes. Alex Go, holding a basketball, decides he'll get his chance to crush Colton Choi another day, while other students taunt him for playing dirty. Ben Park, still grinning, challenges them to go check out Class 5, assuring them they can call him a liar afterward, followed by a KK of amusement. Alex Go ponders the unbelievable details, muttering lashes for real, still processing the bizarre account. Another student expresses disbelief, questioning if that wimp over there really did it, adding dismissively that he looks like a chick. The students confirm Colton Choi left early out of embarrassment, along with his goons, remarking on the huge weight class mismatch given Gray-Yun's small stature. 3 students stare in collective shock, their faces reflecting the sheer disbelief at the story of Colton Choi's unexpected defeat. Ben Park dramatically gestures, insisting it was the most chilling sight, describing how Gray-Yun literally slapped the devil out of him after tying him up. Colton Choi observes the unfolding situation with a look of surprise, finding the events unfolding before him to be quite interesting. New presence arrives, identified as Gerard Jean from Do Eui Middle School. Whispers circulate, speculating he's come to investigate the rumors and noting his surprising growth, with one student muttering about him being a fucking giraffe. With a subtle shift, Gerard Jean slowly turns his head, his gaze sharp and focused. Colton Choi greets Gerard Jean with a taunting smile, asking if curiosity had also drawn him to the spectacle, then letting out a mocking laugh. Gerard Jean observes the group, noting their continued closeness, remarking that they are as inseparable as ever. He then casually mentions Ben and Alex. Colton Choi snaps back aggressively, his eyes narrowed, demanding to know what Gerard Jean is staring at, calling him a shit stack. Gerard Jean scoffs, dismissing Colton Choi as a hot-headed idiot and sarcastically remarking that he simply thought the two of them looked good together. The narrator reveals a prophetic glimpse into the future. The 4 individuals present, though seemingly impossible, are destined to unite and become legends of Unjang High. Yet, the narrator cautions that the full tale of their legendary rise is still a distant future, a story yet untold. The school bell rings, signaling the end of the day. Students spill out, some eagerly planning to play games, while others argue over debts, their chatter filling the air as a scooter zooms past. An unidentified student with light gray hair looks on, his expression unreadable, a subtle tension in his gaze. Gray-haired student observes a peer in a red cap who casually exhales a puff of smoke, exuding nonchalant defiance. With bandages adorning his injured face, Colton Choi spits in contempt, aggressively calling out "Hey you, bitch face," and mocking the other student's expression, asking if he's a fucking cyborg. The student in the red cap mockingly questions if Colton Choi actually lost to this kid, while the orange-haired student derides Colton Choi as a fucking idiot. Colton Choi, still fuming, dramatically insists he would have one if he hadn't been tied up, accusing his opponent of using underhanded fucking tactics with bag straps, as the other students laugh derisively. Gray Yun's eyes narrow, a cold question echoing his thoughts. Underhanded? Gray Yun directly challenges the orange-haired student, his voice low, asking if he dared to call his methods underhanded. Redcap student and his companion exchange glances, their expressions unreadable as they watch Gray Yun, a silent assessment passing between them. Gray Yun, despite being outnumbered and outclassed, defiantly labels his opponents disgusting meatheads, his eyes burning with resolve. Gray Yun repeats his challenge, his gaze unwavering as he confronts the orange-haired student about his underhanded comment. Gray Yun reiterates his defiance, acknowledging the numerical disadvantage but still lashing out at his opponents, calling them disgusting meatheads. The orange-haired student pauses, then the red-cap student retorts with a dismissive and, while Colton Choi feigns offense, sarcastically remarking, "Well, that's not a very nice thing to say now, is it?" Internally, Gray Yun admits to feeling fear, but steeling himself, he resolves not to let it show, standing firm against the 3 larger students. He convinces himself that his fear is merely an illusion, a mental trick he must overcome to face the challenge ahead. His focus sharpens, determined to just focus on finding a way to win. Meanwhile, one of the bullies aggressively calls out, "Hey, asswipe." The orange-haired student smugly declares that Gray Yun must be shitting himself right now, relishing in his perceived fear as Colton Choi watches on. The orange-haired student points at Gray Yun, laughing as he claims Gray Yun is trembling, while the red-cap student resolves, "I just need to get rid of this one first." Gray Yun's resolve hardens. He decides to suppress my emotions and make them feel the fear I'm feeling, his eyes burning with a new, cold determination. The orange-haired student winds up a powerful punch, a loud WOM echoing, as he sneers a vulgar threat at Gray Yun. Time to eat shit. The swift motion, Gray Yun ducks beneath the incoming attack, a whoosh of air as the punch misses, leaving the orange-haired student surprised and questioning, "Huh?" Following the dodge, Gray Yun's hand shoots out, seizing Colton Choi's pant leg with incredible speed. A sharp thud echoes as Gray Yun yanks Colton Choi's leg, throwing him off balance, and Colton Choi lets out a surprised hup as he begins to fall. Before Colton Choi can recover, Gray Yun is already airborne, echo sound preceding his descent as he prepares to stomp down on the now fallen assailant. A loud crash signifies the impact. Gray Yun's foot lands with a soft tap on Colton Choi's chest, pinning him to the ground as the bully grimaces in agony. With a decisive whack, Gray Yun raises his foot, poised to deliver another blow to the now terrified Colton Choi, whose eyes are wide with disbelief. One of Colton Choi's allies, enraged by the sight, screams, "You fucking dipshit," at the relentless Gray Yun, while another stands by, nursing his own injuries. Gray Yun turns his gaze, his pink eyes gleaming with cold resolve, a subtle smirk playing on his lips as he faces the new threats. With a quick flick of his wrist, Gray Yun unleashes a blinding spray of dirt, a such sound accompanying the sudden attack as it blasts Colton Choi's yelling ally in the face, who cries out "Arg" in pain. The ally clutches his face, screaming in agony, "Ah, he chucked fucking dirt in my eyes," as the dust stings his eyes. Without hesitation, Gray Yun pivots, his arm a blur of motion, preparing to strike with precision and overwhelming force. Sharp hawk rings out as a smartphone is violently slammed into the face of the other injured student, leaving him reeling in pain. The scene unfolds in chaos as Colton Choi and his 2 allies are completely incapacitated, groaning in pain, "Ow, ow, 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 ow," and "Ah, my eyes," while Gray Yun calmly walks away, leaving them in disarray. One of the battered students stares at Gray Yun's retreating back, his mind reeling, "What is this guy?" as the other continues to shriek, "Arg my eyes." With his back turned, Gray Yun's voice cuts through the air, chillingly reminding them, "Didn't I tell you that if you make a scene again, I would gouge your eyes out?" As a clunk-clunk sound emanates. A clunk of a belt being swung through the air signals Gray Yun's next brutal move. One of the trembling allies lets out a terrified eek, realizing the weapon in Gray Yun's hand. His belt? A brutal WHA thud echoes as the heavy belt buckle smashes directly into the ally's head, delivering a devastating blow. The ally collapses, a guttural krrrg escaping his lips as blood trickles from his mouth. Gray Yun, a dark silhouette, coldly declares, "You pathetic scumbag. Do you even understand why you're getting owned by me?" Gray Yun's gaze is piercing as he delivers his final, cutting assessment. "It's because you're pitifully predictable." With a final tap-tap, Gray Yun walks away, leaving the two defeated allies weeping and groaning on the ground. Eugene Gale cautiously approaches, asking, "Guys, are you alright?" Dean Kwan arrives, scolding the defeated duo, "Hey, come on, you idiots. Stop crying, it's embarrassing, and stop sobbing and wake this dumbass up," as one of the allies continues to sob uncontrollably. Dean Kwan inwardly muses, "I knew that Colton Choi would make a scene if he lost, so I got worried and followed him, but..." His thoughts then turn to the victor, Gray Yun. Dean Kwan's expression hardens, a mix of concern and intrigue crossing his face as he considers Gray Yun. Two students gossip, "I heard that Colton Choi got his ass handed to him. He even brought his entourage. They all ate the pavement." The other adds, "But apparently he uses the most underhanded tactics to fight." DRR. The door opens, and with a soft tack, Gray Yun steps into the classroom. As Gray Yun walks to his desk with soft tap-tap sounds, other students eye him, one thinking, "It's that guy? The oh-so-cunning one?" A scar of fear runs through Eugene Gale as he sees Gray Yun, thinking, "To think that this kid was such a scary guy," and regretting, "The bullshit I spewed last time." Eugene Gale nervously offers Gray Yun advice. "Since you and I appear to be so similar, let me give you some advice. You shouldn't meet eyes with that guy Colton Choi. He might kill you." Gray Yun calmly responds, "Sure." Meanwhile, Eugene is drenched in sweat, feeling tense with anxiety. Tense atmosphere shatters as Colton Choi, masked and furious, slams his hand down, silencing the entire classroom with a resounding whack. He bellows for everyone to shut up, his presence suffocating the room. Meanwhile, Gray Yun stands apart, his profile outlined, a system box highlighting his identity. Gray Yeon, graduated middle school, unknown. He glances back, seemingly unfazed by the commotion. Colton Choi turns his back to the class, his imposing figure dominating the front. Eugene Gale, drenched in sweat, thinks to himself, fearing that something truly terrible is about to unfold. Colton Choi's masked face is set with cold intensity, his eyes narrowed, scanning the room for his target. Gray Yun meets the gaze, his expression unreadable, a subtle hint of defiance in his eyes. With a loud creak, a gloved hand slams down on a desk, the sound echoing ominously through the silent classroom. Colton Choi perches casually on a desk, a thud marking his arrival, as he points directly at Gray Yun, singling him out with a single, accusatory word, "You." Gray Yun's internal thoughts label the confrontation as predictable, yet he calmly asks, "What?" challenging Colton Choi to elaborate. Colton Choi reveals the rumors swirling around Gray Yun, accusing him of beating up Colton Choi, Royce Na, and Eddie Moore at the bridge passage yesterday, then fleeing the scene. Colton Choi's masked gaze intensifies, his eyes piercing as he demands to know if the rumors are true. Eugene Gale's eyes widen in disbelief and terror, stuttering a shocked what the hell, Gray Yun, as the realization hits him. The rumors were actually true. Colton Choi, still perched on the desk, dismisses his own involvement, stating he couldn't care less about that idiot Colton, but reveals his personal stake. Royce, one of the others beaten, is his cousin. The dismissive flick, Colton Choi offers Gray Yun a chance to apologize, smugly adding that Gray Yun should know who I am, so, yeah. Eugene Gale's terror spikes as he recalls the reputation of Philip Kim, the one who conquered Imdo Middle School before transferring here. Gray Yun, however, remains unimpressed, asserting that, 1, there's no reason for me to apologize, his gaze unwavering. Colton Choi's jaw clenches with a visible clench, his anger simmering beneath the surface as Gray Yun's defiance becomes clear. Gray Yun's eyes narrow with disdain as he delivers the final blow, declaring, "And 2, I have no fing idea whatsoever who you are." Colton Choi erupts in fury, cut off mid-sentence, "Why you foo?" as a booming ha 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 echoes through the room, shocking other students who wonder the hell. The laughter continues, a disruptive, mocking sound filling the tense silence. A new figure, Ben Park, throws his head back in uproarious laughter, a wide, taunting grin on his face, with a HA. Ben Park mocks Colton Choi's former school, declaring, "Imdo Middle School is the weakest school out there." He scoffs, "No one cares about your status there, you dodo." Colton Choi looks utterly defeated and enraged as Ben Park reminds him, "I told you, dumbass." Ben Park grabs Colton Choi by the shirt with a forceful squeeze, reiterating his earlier threat, "And I also told you that I'd kill you if you act like you're all that around here." Ben Park continues to hold Colton Choi, telling him to stop trying to act tough with that raggedy mask on in someone else's class and go back to your own. Another student timidly points out Ben Park isn't from the class either. Ben Park turns his attention to the other students huddled in the back, addressing them as "you extras in the back." His gaze sharpens, a clear command forming on his lips as he finishes his sentence, telling them to get the F out. The students, including Eugene Gale, are utterly terrified, one of them meekly responding, "Okay." Eugene's thoughts identify the intimidating figure as that psycho Ben Park. Gray Yun observes the scene, his expression thoughtful, wondering internally, "The hell are these guys doing?" Ben Park, still holding a defeated Colton Choi, offers a mocking apology, a wide grin on his face. "Oh, sorry for making a scene." Gray Yun, observing the scene, looks on with a hint of confusion, murmuring an uncertain response to the ongoing commotion. Ben Park, still holding Colton Choi aloft, jovially declares it's time to return to studies, as Colton Choi, clearly humiliated, demands to be released. Eugene Gale stares in disbelief, trying to process the sight of Ben Park offering an apology, even a sarcastic one, to Colton Choi. He thinks about how unusual this display is. Eugene Gale's thoughts race, acknowledging Ben Park's undeniable skill, but also marveling at his unexpected bravery and sheer luck in this volatile situation. In the back of the classroom, an ironic sense of peace settles as the narrator muses on the prospects of a tranquil school year. A small, hopeful, lucky thought floats nearby. Outside, Colton Choi sits alone, head bowed in defeat, a single, frustrated curse escaping his lips after his public humiliation. Colton Choi's anger boils over as he grinds his teeth, vowing vengeance against Ben Park for making him look foolish in front of everyone. His hands clench into tight fists, knuckles white, the raw squeeze of his suppressed fury evident in every strained muscle. Clutching his chest, Colton Choi acknowledges the physical pain, but his mind is set on the inevitable clash with Ben Park, certain of the outcome in a true fight. Standing in the empty classroom, Colton Choi grips his phone, his eyes burning with a promise to get his revenge on Ben Park someday. Colton Choi furiously swipes through his phone, navigating a contact list titled Poryunggu Delinquents Union, searching for an ally. His finger pauses, hovering over the name Donald Na on the extensive list of contacts, a powerful figure he recognizes. Colton Choi's face contorts with a mix of fear and hesitation. Donald Na is simply too intimidating, and he decides against making that call. With a decisive hard pass, Colton Choi swipes past the formidable name, realizing some alliances come with too high a cost. His eye narrows, a renewed resolve hardening his gaze as he continues his search for the right person to aid his vendetta. His finger stops on Jimmy Bay, a name that sparks recognition. Colton Choi notes that Jimmy Bay also has a history of conflict with Ben Park, making him a perfect candidate. Colton Choi makes the call, a satisfied, almost sinister grin spreading across his face as he mutters, "Fucking perfect." Jimmy Bay's eyes snap open, annoyed by the persistent bzzz of his vibrating phone, as an unknown caller's voice seems to question if he's giving up. Holding his phone, cigarette in hand, Jimmy Bay's irritation is clear as he wonders aloud what this sorry ass wants with him. Jimmy Bay's foot presses down with a crunch onto someone's hands, causing a pained krrgh as he coldly demands to know what they want. Philip Kim, on the phone, stands over other students struggling through push-ups, one of whom cries out in pain. The caller's voice can be heard calling his name, Philip. Philip Kim's internal monologue drips with disdain, deeming the person on the ground a bottom dweller unworthy of calling him, while Gray Yun groans in genuine pain. Philip Kim's face twists into an angry snarl as he exclaims, "What kind of fucking nonsense is that?" A system box simultaneously displays Jimmy Bay's school background. The scene repeats, with Philip Kim on the phone, overseeing the struggling students, one of whom lets out another pained "IHH" as Colton Choi's voice calls his name, "Philip." Philip Kim, still holding a cigarette, asks, and, to the caller, his internal thoughts dismissing the bottom dweller beneath him, while Gray Yun continues to suffer, whispering it hurts. Philip Kim's face contorts with renewed fury, demanding to know, "What kind of fucking nonsense is that?" as the system box once again highlights Jimmy Bay's academic history. Dean Kwan, his phone pressed to his ear, questions the person on the other end, asking if they're truly okay with someone spreading such nonsense. He then gives a direct order, "Agitate him." Philip Kim, already fuming and holding his own phone, is called out by the person on the line. He rages, declaring he was already itching to murder Ben, that fucker, and warns them to just watch and see. Dean Kwan smirks, a sinister cuckoo escaping him, satisfied that Philip Kim took the bait like the idiot he is. He then adds, also, as if to deliver another piece of crucial information. Philip Kim's face contorts with fierce determination, his eyes burning. He warns the caller not to utter a single word about Donald Na, vowing to destroy him myself. Dean Kwan lets out another mocking coo into his phone, clearly enjoying the success of his manipulation as Philip Kim's rage takes hold. Donald Na, with a chillingly calm expression, reveals his foresight, stating he knew this big-headed prick would be like that. He adds another cuckoo and dismisses Philip Kim as even stupider than he looks. A loud thud echoes as Philip Kim stands surrounded by two other students. One of them, looking concerned, asks, "Philip Kim, what did he say?" Philip Kim's face is a mask of pure, unadulterated fury, his jaw clenched, eyes narrowed with intense anger, ready to unleash his frustration. His eye, an intense focal point, reflects the burning rage simmering beneath the surface, promising imminent violence. A bruised and weary Ben, panting heavily, taunts his opponent, asking that all you got as specks of debris float around him. Philip Kim, equally battered and bruised, lets out frustrated shitty exclamations, his body tensing with a huff and preparing for another swing in the ongoing brawl. Unseen voice calls out, "Hey Jimmy," the words hanging in the dark, snowy air, setting the stage for a new confrontation. Two figures stand, one chastising Jimmy Bay, accusing him of dragging it out like a moron. "Dude," he continues, "Jimmy Bay, I'm telling you man, you're all talk and no action," as Jimmy Bay stands silently. Philip Kim's face shows a flicker of surprise and concern, his brow furrowed as the name Donald Na crosses his mind, a sudden realization dawning on him. A clenched fist trembles with suppressed rage and resolve, accompanied by the sound of grit, signifying Philip Kim's internal struggle and determination. The powerful puck and a dismissive command to get lost. Philip Kim sends a subordinate flying with a kick, who cries out "oh" as he tumbles. Philip Kim watches as the two intimidated students scram away, his back to the viewer, asserting his dominance. Jack Hong, identified as number 2, responds with a simple yeah, his expression serious and unwavering. Philip Kim, his back still turned, declares his intention to crush Ben and orders his subordinates to gather the boys and drag him over here by tomorrow. Jack Hong readily agrees with an "ite," while another subordinate questions, "What? Drag Ben Park here?" A third, more aggressive subordinate, likely Jack Hong, scolds him, calling him an idiot and reminding him this is a chance to show loyalty. Philip Kim's face is etched with a fierce, resolute grit as he vows to destroy him completely this time, ensuring Ben doesn't dare talk about crushing me ever again. One of Jack Hong's subordinates argues that bringing Ben is not easy and sarcastically suggests Jack Hong go himself. He then bluntly states that Jack Hong is the lowest ranking in the Union, too. An establishing shot reveals the school buildings under a clear sky, a brief moment of calm before the next storm. In a classroom, Eugene Gale observes Gray Yun, who is diligently writing and internally questions, studying, with a look of mild surprise. Eugene Gale, deep in thought, admits he doesn't know anything at all about his character, pondering Gray Yun's dedication to really studying. Observing Gray Yun from the side, Eugene Gale notes, his height seems a little shorter than me, and describes his physique, and his limbs are nothing but bones. Eugene Gale's thoughts continue, focusing on Gray Yun's appearance, leading to a profound observation about his looks. Eugene Gale's internal monologue concludes, suggesting that you could get someone to believe he's a girl, highlighting Gray Yun's delicate features. Eugene Gale, a slight blush on his face, reflects on a kid like that, his expression a mix of confusion and perhaps a hint of admiration. Gray Yun looks directly, almost piercingly, at the viewer, or perhaps Eugene Gale, asking with a hint of exasperation, "You really don't get it, do you?" Eugene Gale, deep in thought, admits that even witnessing it firsthand, he struggles to grasp the sheer cunning Gray Yun displays in a fight. A sharp, startled "what?" escapes Eugene Gale's lips. Gray Yun's gaze drops, his expression unreadable as he challenges, "Got something to say?" Eugene Gale flinches, a panicked "huh?" escaping him as if physically recoiling from Gray Yun's words. Stammering, Eugene Gale quickly changes the subject, warning Gray Yun about the dangers of commuting through the bridge underpass, explaining that it's just. He elaborates, detailing how the underpass has been the site of numerous incidents and is a known hangout for delinquents. Eugene Gale concedes that it's the fastest route, but insists on relaying a recent incident that occurred there. As Eugene Gale speaks, he glances back, noticing the unsettling, glowing eyes of other students fixed upon him. Unnamed students internally seethe, one dismissing others as fucking losers, another expressing annoyance despite Colton Choi's absence, and a third declaring they're getting on his nerves. One student scoffs, pointing out that at this point, the one who was shown up is the true idiot, while another student muses that perhaps Colton Choi was never as tough as he pretended to be. Gray Yun abruptly stands, prompting a hesitant Eugene Gale to ask, where are you going? Gray Yun responds with a curt, to the bathroom. Eugene Gale awkwardly agrees, then his thoughts drift to the fact that even the bathroom is dangerous. Gray Yun walks away, a system notification appearing to highlight his mysterious past, graduated middle school, unknown. He arrives at the men's restroom. Inside, two students are discussing skipping math class. One suggests it, but the other immediately dismisses the idea, warning that the math teacher is a fucking hawk who would know instantly. Meanwhile, Gray Yun washes his hands under the running water, the sound of splish echoing. Suddenly, a voice shouts, your fucking piss is on me, followed by a mocking laugh from another student, while Gray Yun continues to wash his hands. One of the students shoves Gray Yun, telling him to get out of the way, loser. Student taunts Gray Yun, calling him a klutz for shaking water everywhere, followed by a mocking kikik laugh. Gray Yun's eyes narrow, his thoughts revealing a calculated anger. He could easily crush these minor threats alongside the more obvious ones, but these small acts of disrespect. As Gray Yun opens the bathroom door, he muses that people are slaves to image, realizing he must appear as the easiest prey to these bullies. Gray Yun, with a calm demeanor, states that there's no need to repeat what happened earlier. Voice calls out, Gray, as Gray Yun, his back to the viewer, quietly asserts, I'm okay. A hand reaches out and a name is uttered, Stephen. A mouth trembles, struggling to form words, only managing a broken I. Gray Yun's eye gleams with fierce resolve as a firm declaration echoes, not anymore. Gray Yun looks down, while Eugene Gale appears startled, a sharp whap sound indicating a sudden impact or action nearby. Eugene Gale turns, acknowledging Gray Yun's return with a surprised, oh, you're back. Gray Yun's gaze is intense, his mind fixated on the kid's neck. Eugene Gale's neck shows a vivid red mark, the lingering evidence of a recent assault, as he lets out a quiet He internally muses, as the narrator observes that something significant must have transpired during his brief absence. Gray Yun, with a somber expression, realizes internally that something must have happened again. Eugene Gale stands beside Gray Yun, both students caught in a moment of quiet distress within the classroom. Eugene Gale's internal thoughts betray his anxiety, lamenting, I was supposed to be as quiet as a corpse, invisible. But then he recalls, I got excited in the moment and... He continues his self-reproach, realizing he acted like Gray Yun was my best friend or something, a mistake that now weighs heavily on him. From his desk, Eugene Gale's thoughts swirl with questions, wondering if Gray Yun is not from around here, and acknowledging he has so many things to tell him. A faint, hopeful smile touches Eugene Gale's lips as he thinks, I hope he feels grateful for what I'm doing. Suddenly, Eugene Gale is violently struck, the impact echoing with a loud slap and slam as he lets out a pained kook. Colton Choi glares down, his face contorted in anger, and barks, shut the F up, loser, you're getting on my nerves. Colton Choi continues his menacing warning, his arm still raised, I better not hear you blabbing your mouth ever again. Eugene Gale winces in pain, his glasses askew, thinking, KRHF. He then remembers with a jolt, I forgot this was Eunjang High. Slumped over his desk, Eugene Gale resolves to just stay quiet, believing Gray Yun is not a loser like me, and decides to just cover my face and sleep. Gray Yun stands silently nearby. Gray Yun's gaze hardens as he processes the scene, a silent passing through his mind. The narrator confirms his grim acceptance. Yeah, okay. With a resolute expression, Gray Yun stands firm as the narrator declares, you don't get it yet. You've never seen anyone like me going on a rampage. Gray Yun's eyes burn with a cold resolve as the narrator conveys his inner frustration. I'm tired of it too. I won't have to do anything if they just leave me the F alone. His gaze is piercing, his expression one of unwavering resolve, hinting at a storm brewing beneath his calm exterior. The school hallway bustles with students, their casual chatter filling the air as they move between classes. Student with reddish-brown hair tries to convince his companion, come on dog, just a game of pool. The student with dark spiky hair dismissively replies, I don't play with amateurs. The first student then gossips, heard the part-timer at the pool hall by the bridge underpass is fing hot. The boys went yesterday and got coffee and everything, man. Also, the student with reddish-brown hair continues to elaborate, I hear she looks like a hottie from the TV dramas. A soft thump sounds nearby. The student with dark spiky hair challenges his friend, you even have the cash for it? I'm not about to pay for you. The student with dark spiky hair gives a subtle shuzzy as his friend excitedly exclaims, hell yeah, let's go. As they walk down the hallway, the student with reddish-brown hair enthusiastically declares, "Well, all right then, no switching up on me now." He then adds, "Don't worry, she really that hot though." A smartphone screen displays a critical text exchange. They're headed to the pool hall by the bridge underpass. "You'll catch him if you camp under there. Be there by 4. The recipient types a confirmation, "Yep." A smirking student holds his phone, chuckling internally, "Jimmy Bay and Jack Hong, those dumbass. Coco, thanks for the charity work." He adds, "All I have to do is stuff myself with popcorn and enjoy the show." The leader of a small group declares, "Let's roll out. We're going to get Ben Park." He mentally notes the time and place, 4 p.m. Bridge underpass near the backside gate of Unjang High. One of his companions mutters, "F me." Student with reddish-brown hair urges his friend, "Hey, let's skip the last class and get out of here. Word got out about that hottie. There might not be any tables if we're late." The dark spiky-haired student replies, "We've never skipped English class before, you know?" The dark spiky-haired student ponders, We indeed haven't skipped English yet." The narrator remarks on his internal justification, acting like it's a valid argument. The student with reddish-brown hair looks utterly bewildered, a simple question mark appearing above his head. While Gray Yun stands bewildered, a sudden burst of energy erupts as Eugene Gale and Colton Choi sprint away, their triumphant shouts echoing, "Fine, we out, yeah. Let's go, 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 mwahahaha." The duo continues their journey, passing beneath the silent underpass. Eugene Gale, feeling the eerie quiet, wonders aloud if a ghost might suddenly appear, finding the atmosphere spooky. Climbing the stairs to the billiards hall, Eugene Gale's anxiety mounts, his heart pounding in his chest. Colton Choi attempts to calm him, telling him there's no need to be tense. Back at school, Gray Yun stands with Colton Choi and his associate, an unspoken tension hanging in the air. Gray Yun's gaze sharpens, a subtle worry etching his features as he observes his surroundings. Colton Choi's eyes gleam with a predatory glint, his expression radiating a chilling arrogance. Gray Yun's sharp mind quickly deduces the situation, realizing with a cold certainty that they're testing me. As Gray Yun remains vigilant, Colton Choi and his associate approach him in the hallway, their presence marked by an ominous tap-tap of footsteps. Colton Choi's associate fumes, openly questioning if they should allow Gray Yun to act as if he holds any authority, his disbelief turning to anger as he states, "The more I look, the more I can't believe it." Colton Choi's associate confidently declares that with another Colton absent, they could easily overpower Gray Yun, while Colton Choi himself mocks Gray Yun's perceived weakness, pointing out his noodle wrists. The jarring sound of the school bell, bing bong bang bong dash, signals the start of class. As the classroom fills with chatter, Gray Yun sits at his desk, while Colton Choi and his associate loom behind him, their presence a silent threat as the teacher announces, "Math, incoming." Colton Choi's associate leans in, deliberately spitting with a loud FTTT sound. The disgusting spittle lands with a splat directly onto Gray Yun's leg, a clear act of disrespect. Gray Yun's eyes blaze with suppressed fury, while Eugene Gale, witnessing the blatant bullying, recoils in silent horror, a thought of eek escaping him. Colton Choi's associate feigns innocence with a smug grin, claiming the act was an honest mistake and merely him clearing his throat, offering a sarcastic apology, "My bad, dude." As Colton Choi's associate continues his mocking apology, explaining he meant to spit on the floor and that mistakes happen, Gray Yun's eye narrows, burning with a cold, murderous intent. Teacher, irritated, attempts to regain control as Colton Choi's associate continues to gloat, confident that nothing can be done now that class has started, adding a dismissive coo after his fake apology. The teacher, exasperated, bangs his stick on the desk, sternly ordering the students to take their seats and for class to proceed, the clank-clank echoing his frustration. Gray Yun, seemingly calm, reflects on his actions, thinking, "I clearly showed them what I'm capable of. What more should I make them feel?" His thoughts linger, a silent determination simmering beneath his composed exterior. Gray Yun's expression shifts, his eyes burning with an intense, almost menacing glow, as Colton Choi and his associate suddenly appear uneasy in the background. Elsewhere, the roar of an engine fills the air as two figures speed through the streets on a motorcycle, vroom vroom vroom. A motorcycle rider, with a distinct undercut and purple hair, checks a message from Philip Kim, which states, "We get out at 4 p.m., so if you're at the underpass by then, you'll run into him." He muses to himself, realizing it's currently 3 p.m., leaving him an hour to prepare. The motorcycle rider's thoughts turn to a name, Ben Park. Back in the classroom, Eugene Gale, still visibly shaken, reflects on the past, thinking, "It was a while ago." Colton Choi's associate relaxes, smugly observing the quiet classroom, a thought box appearing to narrate, "They all stayed so quiet when Colton Choi was here," implying a shift in the power dynamic. A system box describes the students' disbelief at what they've witnessed, stating, they can't believe what they witnessed right in front of there, while another thought adds, no, they're refusing to believe it, as students around the classroom fidget nervously. Eugene Gale observes Gray Yun, thinking to himself, he looks oblivious to all of this. Suddenly, Eugene Gale's eye widens in pure terror, a silent eek echoing his profound shock. Eugene Gale, still reeling from the terror, begins to articulate his chilling experience, stating, what I saw. His eye, still wide with shock, continues his recollection, was like an all-knowing, a presence that seemed to pierce his very being. Meanwhile, Colton Choi and Gray Yun casually stroll into a billiards hall, completely unaware of the unsettling events Eugene Gale just experienced. Colton Choi curses loudly, exclaiming fuck and damn, as he wonders aloud, were they just messing with me? His frustration palpable. A striking woman with long purple hair greets them, a mysterious smile on her face as she inquires, messing with you? She then adds, welcome. Both Colton Choi and Gray Yun are instantly smitten, their faces flushing red, a visible heart melt effect highlighting their immediate infatuation. The woman clarifies the owner is out at the moment before politely asking, what drinks can I get you to? Colton Choi, holding a cue stick, declares, we'll be playing 3-ball and I'll have coffee for my drink. Gray Yun quickly echoes, me too. With a soft chuckle and a pleasant smile, the woman agrees to their order, saying, sure thing. She turns to the coffee machine, confirming 2 coffees then, as she prepares their drinks. Colton Choi excitedly exclaims, boom, jackpot, while Gray Yun, equally smitten, declares, she's a goddess, a goddess. The woman smiles serenely, her eyes closed, as she presents the 2 espresso cups. Suddenly, a distinct vroom sound cuts through the air, signaling the approach of a powerful vehicle. The street comes alive with the roar of engines as a group of motorcycles speeds down the road, their presence announced by a continuous vroom. One of the riders, his bike rumbling with a VRAM, questions, are we a bit early, as the group navigates the street. Another student addresses his companion, hey Jack, I think we've arrived a little early. The other student replies, beats being late and missing them. School bell rings with a resounding bing-bong and bang-bong, marking the end of the school day. An announcement echoes through the school, nothing for the dismissal today. All of you should be headed straight home. Class dismissed. With a soft wish, a student with light hair glances over his shoulder, preparing to leave the classroom. 2 male students exchange knowing, almost sinister smiles, a subtle peek indicating their watchful eyes. One student urges, hey, let's go, to his accomplice, who replies with a chilling yup. Cuckoo, as they exit the classroom, leaving a student asleep at his desk. Gray Yun remains silent, a pensive expression on his face, as the narrative hints at impending events with an ominous soon. Students rush out of the school gates, a cacophony of chatter filling the air as they head home. Gray Yun walks alone, his footsteps making soft tap-tap sounds as he remains engrossed in a book. Subtle look of concern flickers across Gray Yun's delicate features as he continues his solitary walk. Eugene Gale, looking distressed, exclaims, you didn't hear about what happened their way back when? It was on the news. He continues, a student from our school was stabbed and sent to the hospital in an ambulance, and everyone from around here knows about this. Gray Yun observes the student warning his companions, dude, let's go this way, while muttering about fucking freaks from Yusun High. One student impatiently asks, where's Ben Park's ass at? Why ain't he here yet? Another speculates, maybe he took the hint and made a run for it. Gray Yun's mind races, his internal thoughts fragmented. What is that? How many? 1, 2, 3. Realizing the overwhelming odds, Gray Yun internally concedes 5. I can't take all of them. He decides, no need to cause unnecessary conflict. I'm going around. Eugene Gale, caught in a desperate situation, internally wishes that Psycho Ben Park had simply run away. He then utters a confused huh? As Gray Yun attempts to bypass the confrontation, a harsh voice cuts through the air, shouting, hey you! Colton Choi, cigarette in hand, glares with menace and yells, lil bitch over there. Colton Choi's voice booms again, ordering Gray Yun to bring your goofy ass over here. Gray Yun pauses, a silent thought hanging in the air. Gray Yun lets out a weary sigh, internally questioning, what do I make of this? His internal monologue continues, I don't see a solution. Colton Choi erupts into maniacal laughter, scoffing, the infamous Unjang Hai really must be as nasty as they say, for even a fucking twig like that to be acting all tough, kaya haha. Teddy Jean turns to his companion, asking, Jack, did you catch the look on his face just now? The other boy simply offers a silent ellipsis. The sarcastic taunt, Colton Choi commands, get over here cool guy, cuckoo, and with a sharp YNK he grabs Gray Yun. Gray Yun's mind races, analyzing the odds. 5 opponents? Can I do it? I've never tried it before. A flicker of doubt crosses his mind. Should I submit to them for now? Colton Choi's grin widens as he internally muses. Seeing how long we've been waiting, it looks like Ben made a run for it. So, his voice drips with sarcasm as he continues to taunt. Look at you, still keeping up your cool as fuck face. Colton Choi smacks Gray Yun's head, saying, hey, do your little sigh into the distance again. Huh? He internally decides I should just toy with this kid for a bit and get him to leave. Cuckoo. As another smack lands, Gray Yun internally questions. Huh? Should I just let this happen? A memory flashes, you beat 3 before. With each smack, Gray Yun's gaze sharpens, his internal voice repeating, huh? Let it happen? Gray Yun's expression turns stone cold as he definitively rejects the idea. No, even if it's just this prick, I'm murdering him. Unaware of the storm brewing, Colton Choi continues to torment Gray Yun, demanding, show me your tears, then I just might let you go. In a sudden, swift move, Gray Yun snatches Colton Choi's wrist, stopping the assault. With a sickening SPLOCH, Gray Yun twists Colton Choi's wrist, drawing blood. Colton Choi lets out a guttural scream of HHHHH as he clutches his now mangled and bleeding hand. The other bullies watch in disbelief as Teddy Jean exclaims, what the hell? The chilling resolve, Gray Yun raises a brick high above his head, ready to strike. With a brutal smash, Gray Yun brings the brick down onto Colton Choi's head, sending debris flying. Colton Choi collapses, whimpering KUFF, KUFF, KUFF as blood streams from his head. As Gray Yun squeezes Colton Choi's head, the bully lets out an AAK. Gray Yun coldly retorts, quit bitching. What's wrong? Want me to call your mama? Gray Yun maintains his intense stare, letting out a sharp huh? Gray Yun stands tall, glancing back with an air of quiet intensity. A system notification reveals, Gray Yun, graduated middle school, unknown. The scene abruptly shifts to a billiard table, where a cue ball slips across the green felt. Inside a billiard hall, 2 new figures pause their game. One mutters, this is, while the other sighs geez, as they both wonder what's going on out there. Colton Choi, still in the billiard hall, narrows his eyes in recognition. He mutters, huh? Wait a minute, that one over there, it's Jack Hong, Jimmy Bay's valet. Ben Park, the other player, scowls, confirming Colton Choi's observation. Damn, you're right, that piece of shit. If he's repping Jimmy Bay, is he here to take me down? From their vantage point, Colton Choi and Ben Park watch as Gray Yun is cornered by a group of bullies outside. Ben Park grins, observing, yeah, look at the guts the kid's got. I like him, he's got guts like you, haha, my oh my. Ben Park's face twists into a menacing grin as he slams his billiard cue. Yippee, finally, it's been a while since I've had the opportunity to let loose, he exclaims, a dangerous excitement in his eyes. Colton Choi stands silently, a cue stick resting beside him. A narrative box describes Alex Go, a fighter known for sheer guts and grit, hinting at a past connection or admiration. The narration continues, reflecting on Gray Yun as a cool-ass motherfucker and observing Colton Choi's intense gaze, suggesting a profound impact Gray Yun has on him. Colton Choi, now with a black eye, glares intensely at Gray Yun. Why you little piece of shit? He snarls, surrounded by his angry cohorts. Gray Yun, clutching his stomach in pain, admits to himself, I can't defeat 5 anyway. His face shows a mix of agony and resignation. The group of bullies, including a furious Colton Choi, advance menacingly, their footsteps echoing with a rhythmic ta-da-da as they close in on Gray Yun. Gray Yun's expression hardens with resolve. He thinks, there's always a way out. Wait for the first guy to come in swinging and... His eye, filled with sharp determination, narrows. He grits his teeth, planning his counterattack. Kick him in the sound of Nash emphasizes his resolve. A foot slides across the ground, hinting at Gray Yun's swift, precise movement as he prepares to execute his desperate plan. One of the bullies, likely Colton Choi, lunges forward with a punch, the air whistling with a whish as his fist flies. In a chaotic moment, Gray Yun delivers a devastating low kick to Colton Choi, who simultaneously punches another bully. The impact resonates with a loud thwack. Gray Yun's eyes widen in surprise, a sudden realization or unexpected turn of events catching him off guard. A new, mysterious figure with green hair covering his eyes appears, a subtle smirk playing on his lips, hinting at his involvement. The green-haired guy greets them casually. Hey there, you Sun High students. Gray Yun looks on, while the injured bully groans, oof. Colton Choi, still enraged, confronts the newcomer. Who the fuck are you? Coming out of nowhere and kicking my friend in the gut. Wanna die? He roars, his anger palpable. One of the bullies informs his comrade, Jack, that's Gerard Jean, from Du Eui Middle School, identifying the new threat. The green-haired guy looks hesitant, his internal thoughts revealing his concern. Man, I'm not so sure about this, to be honest, their numbers. Green-haired guy addresses Gray Yun directly. Hey, Class 5, Gray Yun. Gray Yun, surprised, thinks, yeah? How does he know my name? While the injured bully yells, scram. Expressing his apprehension, the green-haired guy asks Gray Yun, just keeping it real here, but I'm not feeling so hot about this. Got any ideas? You think we can take all of those guys? Gray Yun's eyes are wide with a desperate resolve as he reveals his reckless strategy. My plan was to just crush one more of them and hope for the best after that. Then, if I got beat to a pulp, I didn't care. The green-haired guy reacts with shock, realizing the depth of Gray Yun's recklessness. This guy, he's way more reckless than he seems. We're in trouble, he thinks, his face contorted with worry. Ben Park, now fully engaged, sneers at Gray Yun and the green-haired guy. You arrogant dickwads, you think you can handle what you've just got into? He challenges, surrounded by the angry bullies. The full group of 5 bullies charges forward, led by Ben Park, who screams, "Hey, you fucking sons of bitches!" as the confrontation escalates into a full-blown brawl. Gray Yun looks back, a hint of exasperation in his expression as he thinks, again, this situation seems all too familiar to him. Ben Park laughs maniacally, clearly enjoying the chaos. Oh wow, all of the most sorry-ass losers in one place. He mocks, reveling in the confrontation. Bullies are shocked and enraged by Ben Park's presence, shouting, "Ben Park, you bastard!" as the full extent of the conflict becomes clear. Responding to the bullies' enraged shouts, Ben Park fixes them with a chilling, predatory grin, taunting them by asking if they are truly so excited to see him, or if their presence here is solely to confront him. With the initial verbal spar concluded, the focus shifts, signaling a return to the core objective and the serious business at hand. Ben Park stands confidently among his unexpected allies, observing the unfolding situation and acknowledging his place on this side of the brewing conflict. Narration confirms Ben Park's alliance, stating he has joined the team of the Gutsy Kid, a title that clearly refers to Gray Yun, whose determined gaze fills the frame. Ben Park reiterates his stance, a subtle smile on his face, confirming his position on this side of the confrontation, ready for whatever comes next. The narrative emphasizes the significance of this newfound alliance, highlighting Gray Yun as the gutsy kid around whom this unexpected and powerful team has rallied. A reflective voiceover begins, recounting Gray Yun's past struggles, how he always fought and resisted alone, bearing the burden by himself. The narration continues, revealing Gray Yun's profound weariness from the inaction of bystanders, a weariness that ultimately led him to decide to become one of them. As Gray Yun stands with his new allies, the narrator declares that this moment marks a profound departure, signifying that this time, things are different from his lonely past. One of the bullies confronts Ben Park with a furious expression, his eyes burning as he declares that their entire presence here is solely for Ben Park. Ben Park responds with a dismissive smirk, his eyes narrowed in disdain, challenging the bully by questioning why he should ever listen to a mere minion of Jimmy Bay. The bully's face contorts in pure fury, his teeth audibly gnashing as Ben Park's insulting words ignite his rage to a dangerous level. Ben Park presses his advantage, his expression now serious and piercing, further questioning why Jimmy Bay himself didn't show up if he truly wished to confront him. Ben Park's taunts escalate into outright mockery, a wide, almost deranged grin spreading across his face as he questions if Jimmy Bay believes himself to be as formidable as Donald Na, or if he's merely a pathetic imitator. The tension becomes palpable as the bullies grit their teeth, their anger reaching a boiling point in response to Ben Park's relentless and infuriating provocation. Exploding in a fit of uncontrollable rage, the bully screams at Ben Park to silence himself, threatening to kill him immediately and ominously mentioning taking care of his other arm. The bully's threat intensifies, recalling a past incident where he brutalized Ben Park's arm, warning him that he would ensure Ben Park could never dare to challenge him again. Having endured enough, Ben Park unleashes a guttural roar of pure hatred, his mouth wide open as he furiously labels the bully a scumbag. Caught completely off guard by Ben Park's sudden, explosive counter-response, the bully and his companion react with immediate, wide-eyed shock. In a swift, brutal counterattack, a powerful whack echoes as Ben Park's ally, Alex Go, delivers a devastating blow directly to the bully's face, sending shockwaves through the air. Ben Park, witnessing the sudden escalation, expresses his exasperation as Alex Go throws a punch, lamenting that he had intended to resolve the conflict through peaceful negotiation. Reeling from the unexpected strike, the bully's pain quickly transforms into renewed fury as he clenches his fist and furiously demands clarification on the earlier threat of taking care of things. A relentless barrage of rapid, concussive blows rains down upon the bully, each thud emphasizing the brutal assault as Alex Go continues his powerful offensive. As the rapid strikes continue, the other bullies watch in stunned disbelief, one of them acknowledging Alex Go's incredible speed with a shocked thought. Relentless thud of impacts continues as the bully endures the assault, his mind racing in disbelief, questioning the unexpected power of Alex Go, whom he had completely underestimated. With a sudden surge of defiance, the battered bully retaliates, unleashing a furious punch of his own, his face contorted in a defiant challenge. The bully's face registers intense shock and pain, his eyes wide and mouth agape as the force of an unseen impact ripples around him, indicating another powerful blow. Decisive POW resonates as Alex Go lands yet another powerful blow, sending the bully reeling backward from the sheer, concussive force of the impact. Colton Choi's head snaps back, a spray of blood erupting from his lips as the force of the impact leaves his face flushed crimson. Eugene Gale clenches his head, a wave of frustration washing over him as he mutters, "Arg, that idiot." Despite the fresh blood staining his chin, Colton Choi lets out a chilling, wide grin, a twisted ah-ha, escaping his lips as if reveling in the chaos. His laughter escalates into a full-blown, unsettling roar, ah-ha-ha-ha-ha, echoing the madness in his eyes. Colton Choi's eyes gleam with a manic intensity, his bloodied grin stretching unnaturally wide, a testament to his unyielding, twisted resolve. Rubbing his arm, Colton Choi's grin morphs into a snarl as he taunts, "You puny little rat." Colton Choi unleashes a brutal kick, slamming his foot into the back of an opponent, shouting "jackass." The impact generates a loud thud, while a male with vibrant red hair observes, remarking on the sudden rampage. Colton Choi doubles over, a pained charge escaping his lips as he clutches his side, blood still trickling from his mouth, indicating he's taken another severe blow. A fierce, determined Ineros, radiating pure, unyielding resolve amidst the chaotic brawl. A devastating POW echoes as a powerful fist connects, sending the victim's head snapping violently backward. Colton Choi, now visibly bruised, instinctively crosses his arms in a desperate defensive stance, a silent, conveying his shock and struggle. The attacker, his face contorted in a furious snarl, presses his assault, demanding to know, "Who the F do you think you are?" and taunting, "Do you see how stupid you were now that you've taken a blow? And there's much more where that came from." Eugene Gale screams Alex, in alarm, his mind racing as he thinks, "Arg, that idiot always loses his shit over that incident." His face contorted in a desperate yell, Eugene Gale shouts, "Shit just hit the fan. We're crushing all of them." Two new figures step into the fray, a large, imposing male with a green beanie-like hat and the protagonist, Gray Yun, his expression unreadable, entering the escalating conflict. The frame shifts to Gray Yun, his profile highlighted by a system notification. Gray Yun, graduated middle school, unknown. He glances back, a silent observer in the unfolding drama. Colton Choi is caught in a brutal 2-on-1 assault, held from behind while another assailant delivers a barrage of punches to his face. A sharp snatch reverberates as two fists collide with explosive force, halting a blow mid-air. A grimace of intense effort twists the face of the combatant, eyes narrowed in fierce concentration as he withstands the opposing force. The male with the green beanie-like hat clamps down on Alex Go's arm with a powerful squeeze, admonishing him, "It's not nice to gang up on one guy now, is it?" Alex Go's face contorts in a struggle, his arm trembling under the immense pressure as he internally acknowledges his grip, "Even though I'm not the one to lose in a battle of strength." Sweat beads on Alex Go's brow as he grapples with the overwhelming force, his mind racing. What kind of grip strength is this? So Jimmy Bay went up against a freak like this? The swift grab, the male in the green beanie-like hat seizes the red-haired male, while in the background, Colton Choi is struck with a resounding thud. A relentless barrage of POW impacts erupts as the male in the green beanie-like hat unleashes a furious flurry of punches, overwhelming his opponent. The male in the green beanie-like hat's face contorts into a mask of pure rage, his eyes glowing ominously as he vows, "I'll kill that kid myself, that dirty fighting freak." The green beanie male continues to seethe with palpable fury, while Gray Yun stands silently beside him, an unsettling calm radiating from his presence. Hand suddenly lunges out, seizing Gray Yun's collar from behind with a sharp grab, pulling him into the escalating chaos. Gray Yun remains unervingly calm, turning his head slightly as he states, "Collars aren't for grabbing," then adds with a subtle edge, "Should have just thrown a punch." With a quiet crunch, Gray Yun turns fully, his hands clenching into tight fists, a silent declaration of his readiness to engage. A guttural scream of pure agony rips from a distorted face, mouth agape and eyes wide with terror, as blood splatters around them, signaling a brutal counterattack. Jean Gale's agonizing cries of croc and R.A. echo as Colton Choi maintains his brutal hold, blood still splattering from the victim's face. Colton Choi taunts his victim, asking if being grabbed by the head like this isn't even worse, as Eugene Gale lets out another pained cry of KYAH. With a sickening whap, Colton Choi delivers a powerful punch to the back of Eugene Gale's head, sending a shockwave through the air. A brutal melee erupts as a resounding crack signifies another bone-jarring impact, with multiple students engaged in a chaotic brawl, leaving Gray Yun looking on in distress. The brutal fight continues as Jimmy Bay, his face already bruised and bloodied, exchanges blows with an aggressive opponent. Philip Kim, the former number 1 of Waido Middle School, holds a struggling student, his expression unreadable amidst the chaos. Dean Kwan, his face partially obscured, intently speaks into his phone, seemingly coordinating actions or relaying information from the unfolding events. A sickening splat echoes as a student is brutally struck in the face, their head snapping back from the sheer force of the blow. With a heavy thump, the student collapses to the ground, utterly defeated and unconscious, a clear testament to the brutal force unleashed upon them. Colton Choi stands impassively over the unconscious form of Eugene Gale, who lies motionless on the cold ground, the fight now decisively over. A new, intense presence declares, "That's enough. Stop," before condemning the aggressors as "you sickening shitheads." The scene abruptly shifts with a sharp snap, revealing a building bathed in the warm, fading light of sunset. A student playing pool reflects on the previous events, describing them as pretty chilling, and asks if anyone saw the look on that kid's face, wondering, what kind of wacky character is that? Cue ball makes a sharp snap as it strikes the red ball, sending it across the green felt of the pool table. Jimmy Bay, looking frustrated, sighs, "Now that I've exerted myself like that, feels like I'm having a worse game," as the pool cues creak around him. Jimmy Bay's gaze sharpens as he demands, "And can you explain why that chump tagged along?" The student playing pool, with a smug KEKE, tells Jimmy Bay not to get rude on me now, suggesting they think of it as a celebratory event for crushing Yusen High. Philip Kim, with a subtle peek, quietly states, "I'm here because..." Philip Kim finishes, indicating his presence is of her, as a mysterious female figure is seen engrossed in a book at a nearby desk. The student then scoffs, asking, "And what about Gray Won?" saying he has to go to his after-school class after causing all that chaos back there, before dismissing the idea, "Like hell he does. It doesn't fit that edgy bastard at all." Jimmy Bay retorts, "Fits him perfectly," clearly disagreeing with the assessment of Gray Yun. The pool game continues, with the balls scattered across the table, reflecting the casual atmosphere despite the earlier tension. Student leans in with a sly grin, Over an exterior shot of the city at sunset, a voice remarks, "It looks like we've finished the job all right, thanks to you," adding with a hint of apprehension, "Though your methods are quite scary." A sudden whoosh sound effect startles the students, prompting a confused "HUH" from a student as they look around. A student sharply turns, calling out, "Where'd he go, Gray?" as he searches for the missing protagonist. Wide-eye reflects surprise, emphasizing the suddenness of Gray Yun's departure. A student observes Gray Yun rapidly retreating, remarking, "He's fast," as the sound of his quick steps tap-tap fades away. A student shouts after Gray Yun, inviting him, "Stick around and get some ramen with US- or for a game of pool." Gray Yun briefly turns his head, a fleeting glance back, before continuing his swift departure. Gray Yun, with a fleeting glance, dismisses the lingering confrontation, asserting that he has responsibilities unlike his adversaries. He makes it clear he holds no interest in their affairs, urging them to continue with their own endeavors. Student with brown hair and a surprised expression reacts to Gray Yun's sharp words, uttering a hesitant, "Oh, okay," as he processes the unexpected retort. With a soft tap of his footsteps, Gray Yun continues his swift departure, his back turned to the lingering figures, leaving the scene behind him. The bandaged student from earlier, a wry smile playing on his lips, internally comments on Gray Yun's edgy demeanor, a hint of amusement and disbelief in his thoughts. A sudden snap marks a scene transition, revealing the exterior of a brightly lit building adorned with a billiards sign, indicating a shift in location. Inside the bustling pool hall, a student pauses his game, cue in hand, to question whether their rivals from Yusun would simply accept their losses on a past conflict. The student, his expression serious, confirms his belief that Jimmy Bay's pride would never allow them to back down, anticipating a continued struggle as the pool cues creak softly. With a casual shrug and a slide of his cue, the student dismisses the potential threat, challenging Jimmy Bay to come over, confident that nothing truly bad could happen. Female student at the counter exclaims in surprise at the end of the pool game, calling out, "That's game," and then lucky ASS shot in quick succession, reacting to the final play. Outside the pool club, multiple voices celebrate Ben's 3-cushion shot, declaring that Jean is now responsible for the entire bill, while Jean suspects foul play and cheating. As the students make a quick exit with a scram and KK laughter, the female attendant informs the paying student that the others had already declared he would cover the cost, much to his surprise. Brown-haired student turns to the bandaged student, addressing him as Alex and asking if he's still dwelling on a past incident, hinting at unresolved feelings. The bandaged student, Alex, remains silent, his gaze averted, as the weight of the unspoken past clearly affects him. The brown-haired student attempts to reassure Alex, telling him it wasn't his fault and calling him an idiot in a moment of tough affection. Placing a comforting hand on Alex's shoulder, the brown-haired student urges him to forget about the past, a gesture of support for his troubled friend. The student who paid the bill observes Alex and his friend walking up the stairs, pondering if they are discussing the events that transpired earlier. An intense close-up reveals a memory of a past moment filled with anger and frustration as a voice questions, "Like I did on that day?" The observing student remains deep in thought, a contemplative escaping him as he processes the interaction he just witnessed. The scene shifts to an urban landscape dominated by towering buildings as a voice begins to explain mathematical concepts, referencing XY on the Venn diagram. Inside a classroom, a teacher continues the math lesson, defining the set x minus the intersection between x and y as Gray-yun enters late, a clunk marking his arrival. The teacher, hands on hips, scolds Gray-yun for his late entry, stating that it interrupts the class and is unacceptable. Gray-yun bows deeply in apology, a visible bow effect emphasizing his deference as he expresses his regret for being late. Female student with glasses and a ponytail glances back over her shoulder, her expression unreadable, observing Gray-yun's late arrival. Gray-yun quietly settles into his desk, a slide sound accompanying the action as he places a book into his bag, avoiding further attention. The female student from earlier, a slight blush on her cheeks, observes Gray-yun, her internal thoughts describing him as a pretty boy who is so pale. Her imagination takes flight, envisioning Gray-yun as a perfect idol on stage, as she silently declares him the one who stole my heart. The teacher announces a 10-minute break, instructing the students to use the time for bathroom trips before class resumes. The hallway fills with the sound of chatter as students move about, one mentioning a rumor that your school invaded Unjang High today. 2 students discuss the invasion, with one, Hugo, lamenting that he couldn't participate due to needing to study, while another acknowledges his past as quite the big guy in middle school. During the break, students in the classroom express their disdain for studying among disgusting nerds, though one concedes it's better than not making it into college, with another agreeing, true dat. The dismissive conversation about disgusting nerds continues as a student with long, wavy hair suggests that Unjang is probably eating pavement by now, mockingly laughing. Another student, Colton Choi, agrees, adding that the two of them were infamous since middle school. Female student with pigtails and glasses turns away with a TSK, clearly annoyed by the ongoing chatter. She internally questions why they are talking about that kind of stuff in class, feeling that it's making everyone uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Gray-yun sits quietly at his desk, diligently writing, seemingly trying to ignore the disruptive atmosphere around him. A large arm looms in the foreground, suggesting a presence near him. The scene shifts to an old, brick industrial building under a starry night sky, with rusty barrels and motorcycles scattered outside, hinting at a clandestine meeting place. A close-up reveals Jimmy Bay, his face etched with an intense, aggressive expression, his eyes burning with a dark resolve as he sits, seemingly in deep thought. Philip Kim sits calmly, addressing a group of students standing with their backs to him. He acknowledges their failure to bring back Ben, but expresses his disbelief and anger that they themselves got their asses handed to you. Dean Kwan, his face bandaged, explains the situation to another injured student, mentioning that Gerard Jean and Alex Go were there, along with some maniac, hinting at the severity of their encounter. A student with a bandaged eye lets out a pained who, as he processes the information, his face contorted in frustration and perhaps a touch of fear. A heavy-set student, his head and face heavily bandaged, looks utterly terrified. An off-panel voice expresses shock, asking if that no-name was responsible for inflicting such damage upon him. Another student, partially visible with a bandaged head, voices a suspicious theory, wondering, what if Philip Kim was behind all of this, trying to screw us all over by sending information to both sides? Close-up reveals a shaved-head student with a bandaged nose, his expression tense and worried, clearly stressed by the unfolding events and accusations. The student with the bandaged eye dismisses the theory about Philip Kim, stating that that idiot never got to gain power in Unjang High and even got kicked out of the union because of Ben, questioning why he would do something so meaningless. His frustration boils over as he admits he tried to do things quietly to not be embarrassed, but now feels even more of a disgrace to my reputation. His gaze sharpens, and he addresses the bandaged, heavy-set student directly, calling him Helmet. He continues his tirade, mocking the bandaged student's injuries and asking if he should give you a medal for getting your ass hooped by some no-name, his words dripping with contempt. The chilling, wide grin, he further insults the student, calling him Helmet, you useless F, and orders him not to show your despicable face until I call you up again. The bandaged, heavy-set student's face contorts in humiliated rage, his internal thoughts seething, Fing douche, I'm the easy target, huh? Wouldn't talk like that to Jack. An intense eye glares, demanding a response. Where's your response? The pressure is palpable. The bandaged student's internal thoughts continue, blaming his tormentor. This would have been hard enough even if you were there. It's your fault for making us do your dirty work. I'm all wrapped up in this S because of you. He then repeats the insult. Don't show my despicable face? Dark, menacing aura surrounds the bandaged student as he looks up, his thoughts turning sinister. So I look like a pushover to you, don't I? He thinks, resolving to report every detail of this to Donald Na. Back in the classroom, Gray Yun sits by the window, lost in thought, his hands supporting his chin as he looks out, seemingly detached from the world around him. A closer look at Gray Yun's face reveals a contemplative, almost melancholic expression, his eyes distant as if pondering something deeply. A group of students, including one with a sinister grin, stands together, identified as being on the Gutsy Kids team, suggesting a new faction or alliance. From a distance, students are seen through the windows of a school building as a thought echoes, a team, emphasizing the idea of collective power. An imposing modern school building, labeled Hero Cram School, stands tall. A rhetorical question hangs in the air. Does that even matter? The abandoned brick building is shown again at night, a single motorcycle parked outside, reinforcing the sense of clandestine operations and hidden struggles. A foot in a striped sandal stands on a dark, gritty floor. A square thought bubble reveals the internal monologue of the angry student from earlier. My rash-in-the-moment decision made out of anger brought about the worst possible outcome. The same student sits in an armchair, his eyes obscured by shadow, reflecting on his actions with regret, thinking, I should have done it myself. His face is etched with determination as he recalls all the hyenas lurking in the background, looking for a chance over the past year, remembering how they were always nagging me. With renewed resolve, he declares his intention to make a move first and crush him before the word gets out, asserting, I'm not the same person I used to be. His ultimate goal is clear. I won't be able to live with myself unless I surpass Ben. With that burning resolve to surpass Ben, a dark, menacing specter of another foe, perhaps a reflection of his own inner demons, surfaces in his mind, prompting the chilling thought, that fucker too. As night descends upon the school building, the day concludes. A teacher dismisses his class, reminding everyone to catch up on their reading, and the students respond with a polite farewell. In the quiet aftermath, Gray Yun meticulously slides his math theory notebook into his bag, preparing to leave the classroom. Two other students eagerly plan their post-school activities, suggesting a trip to the PC cafe, while Gray Yun remains quietly in the background. Suddenly, Jimmy Bay's intense gaze falls upon Gray Yun, his thoughts questioning the sight of the unfamiliar Unjang High uniform. Unaware of the scrutiny, Gray Yun stands by a window, lost in his own thoughts as the evening light fades. Jimmy Bay's face twists into a cruel smirk, his thoughts labeling Gray Yun as nothing more than a pathetic loser. His attention then shifts to Gray Yun's meticulously organized notes, a clear target for his malicious intentions. With a casual, forceful grab, Jimmy Bay snatches Gray Yun's notes, declaring his intention to borrow and copy them, much to Gray Yun's silent, resigned dismay. From a distance, Eugene Gale observes the bullying, trembling with fear and frustration, internally urging Gray Yun not to surrender his possessions so easily. Gray Yun, offering no resistance, simply gives a terse fine, his expression a mask of weary acceptance. As Gray Yun quietly walks away, the bullies continue their taunts, marveling at the perfect notes and mocking his horrified expression. The school hallway fills with the chatter of students leaving for the day, one student sighing about how tired they are. A student with light hair and glasses walks away, their back to the viewer, lost in the crowd. Students stream out of the regular classroom, one pausing with a curious HM, as if noticing something unusual amidst the bustling hallway. Gray Yun walks silently down the corridor, his gaze fixed on the world outside the window, a solitary figure amidst the departing students. Eugene Gale, shocked, recognizes Gray Yun, expressing disbelief that the former academic prodigy, whom he thought was bound for a science high school, is here. A flashback reveals a formal assembly with a teacher announcing Gray Yun's name for Class 4, highlighting his past academic achievements. Eugene Gale's eyes reflect his memories of Gray Yun, recalling how he consistently stood at the podium, accumulating awards on his path to becoming an elite. Still pondering, Eugene Gale questions how such an elite student like Gray Yun ended up wearing the uniform of the notorious Unjang High. Deep in thought, Eugene Gale's mind races, wondering if a past incident was the cause of Gray Yun's unexpected change of schools. Blue natural gas bus speeds past, its brakes hissing as it approaches a stop, signaling a change of scene. A girl with pigtails and glasses notices Gray Yun, realizing with a surprised ooh that they must be heading in the same direction. Her thoughts drift to Gray Yun, observing his innocent looks and deducing that his notes were likely stolen due to his gentle demeanor. A blush creeps onto her cheeks as she wonders why Gray Yun continues to occupy her thoughts, feeling a protective instinct like he's a child left by the river. With a determined expression, the girl resolves to protect Gray Yun from the forces of evil represented by the lurking bullies, promising herself to act next time. On the bus, the girl giggles to herself, dreaming of speaking to Gray Yun, only to be interrupted by an old man's warning to hold on for safety. Suddenly, the bus roars to life, accelerating with a powerful vroom dash, causing a surprised Kaya dash from the passengers as it jolts forward. The girl gasps, her face contorted in shock as she struggles to regain her balance from the sudden acceleration, breathing heavily. Other passengers on the bus share her startled reaction, one exclaiming that the sudden jolt was close, as they all recover from the unexpected movement. A close-up reveals a wide, startled eye behind glasses, beads of sweat forming on the brow and a faint blush on the cheek as the sound effect peak echoes the sudden, anxious observation. Eugene Gale, a student with short, light brown hair, stands on the bus, clutching a handrail. His gaze is fixed to the side, a subtle, pensive expression on his face. The bus continues its route through the city at dusk. Eugene Gale's thoughts drift, a quiet escaping him as he muses, "I'd like to get to know him." The scene shifts, establishing the imposing structure of Unjang High School under a cloudy sky, its name prominently displayed on a vertical sign. Inside a classroom, Colton Choi sits at a desk, his arms crossed, a look of distinct discomfort and irritation etched across his face. Other students in the classroom whisper amongst themselves, one remarking, "I didn't think Colton Choi would come to school today." Another speculates, "Hey, maybe he's ready for round 2 with Gray Yun." The hushed conversation continues between the students, one asking if things shouldn't be quiet for a while. The other agrees, noting the significant buzz the previous event caused. Their whispers carry a new detail as one student reveals, "I heard his little posse was defeated too." Colton Choi's face contorts in a sneer, his eyes narrowed as he snarls, "Hey losers, shut the fuck up." Colton Choi's sharp command instantly silences the entire classroom, an abrupt quiet settling over the students. Soft durr sound accompanies Eugene Gale as he stands by a slightly ajar door, his expression unreadable as he looks downward. Colton Choi visibly flinches, his eyes widening and sweat dripping as a sudden realization or fear grips him. Eugene Gale remains stoic, a quiet SSK escaping him as he gazes away, his presence still unsettling. From an overhead perspective, students are seen in the classroom, with Eugene Gale seated calmly at his desk as a soft "UK" sound punctuates the quiet. Colton Choi's face is drenched in sweat, his expression a clear mask of fear as the repeated sound of tremble emphasizes his deep apprehension. Student with a smug grin remarks, "Look at Colton, still cowering in fear." He then muses, "Should we offer to team up against Gray?" 3 students are gathered outdoors in what appears to be a schoolyard, 2 seated on a bench and 1 standing, observing their surroundings. Colton Choi's fearful gaze is depicted alongside a glimpse of Gray Yun's intense eyes. Colton Choi's internal thoughts reveal his deep-seated terror. "I can't bring myself to do it. I don't want to see his cunning, ghastly eyes ever again." Outdoors, Colton Choi, smoking, is approached by another student who asks, "What do we do now, Colton?" Colton Choi replies, "We'll test the waters for a while." Dean Kwan and another student cautiously peek through a doorway, their expressions suggesting a hesitant approach. Colton Choi, still seated, confronts the group of students, including Dean Kwan, demanding to know, "What do you idiots want?" Dean Kwan attempts to placate Colton Choi with a hesitant, I dash, while his companion adds, "Don't be so cold like that." Colton Choi's face is a mask of fury, his eyes burning as he challenges, "They can fuck with me, huh? Wanna die?" Dean Kwan and his associate quickly backtrack, Dean Kwan exclaiming, "Whoa, whoa, it's not like that." His friend clarifies, "We're just here to have a conversation." Dean Kwan, a cunning smile spreading across his face, attempts to manipulate Colton Choi, suggesting, "He must be bugging you. Gray Yun, that son of a bitch, Dean Kwan proposes an alliance to Colton Choi, stating, "Let's team up and crush him." He adds, "There's nothing for you to lose, right?" Dean Kwan continues to press Colton Choi, arguing that allowing a chump like him to rampage like that doesn't look good for you either, you know? Close-up on Dean Kwan's intense eye emphasizes his next revelation. In the end, you're looking to get into the Yongdongpo Union. Dean Kwan's knowing smile broadens as he concludes, "Through Philip Kim's connections, am I right, Colton?" Colton Choi gulps, his face betraying his shock as Dean Kwan's words echo in his mind, revealing his true intentions. "I'll appeal to Colton and Philip and get into the Yongdongpo Union, get the job done easily and gain what I want." A classic two birds with one stone situation. Eugene Gale confidently declares that as long as they aren't caught off guard, they won't lose to the maid freak. Colton Choi mentally scoffs, wondering if Eugene Gale truly comprehends Gray Yun's danger, before pointedly asking if Eugene Gale even has a plan. Colton Choi's grin widens as he asserts his intention to personally handle Gray Yun. Colton Choi instructs Eugene Gale that all he needs to do is provide support. Eugene Gale echoes support, his expression betraying a hint of confusion or concern. Colton Choi, with a maniacal grin, orders Eugene Gale to simply escalate the tension while he vows to brutally beat that fool. Colton Choi pauses, a worried frown creasing his brow as he considers the potential chaos if Evan Yu were to actually defeat Gray Yun, realizing it would completely disrupt the existing hierarchy. A hand diligently writes in a textbook, but the silence is broken by a sickening splat as something wet lands directly onto the page. Gray Yun sits composed at his desk, his gaze fixed on his textbook as he continues to write, seemingly undisturbed. Colton Choi stands over Gray Yun, a mocking grin on his face, feigning clumsiness and apologizing with exaggerated sarcasm, and a hawk sound effect implies he just spit. Colton Choi continues his taunts, his mouth agape as he claims an uncontrollable craving for something sweet, with saliva visibly drooling from his mouth. A disgusting stream of spit, thick and viscous, spills down onto Gray Yun's open textbook, with repeated spit sounds emphasizing the malicious act. The textbook lies open, its pages now completely ruined by the disgusting, blurry mess of spit. Gray Yun slowly lifts his gaze, his eyes narrowed and expression unreadable as the hawk sound of spitting echoes around him. Eugene Gale, visibly distressed, processes the situation, his thoughts revealing his shock that Colton Choi and Evan Yu have joined forces, condemning them as the worst. Gray Yun's sharp eyes analyze the situation, his thoughts revealing his assessment that Colton Choi has long lost his will to fight, easily discernible from his cowering posture in the background. In the background, Colton Choi and another student visibly shrink back, their expressions uneasy and intimidated. Colton Choi's face contorts into a twisted, aggressive grin, his thoughts revealing his frustration that Gray Yun still refuses to acknowledge him, concluding that some help might be needed to make Gray Yun and the others understand. A system prompt appears, declaring that the chance has come earlier, setting an ominous tone. The system prompt concludes, stating the chance arrived than I'd expected, as Gray Yun's gaze sharpens with cold determination. Colton Choi snarls down at Gray Yun, unleashing insults, calling him a fucking loser, and accusing him of feeling overconfident after a fluke victory. Colton Choi continues his verbal assault, declaring that delusional freaks like Gray Yun require a brutal beating to learn their place, as Gray Yun calmly yanks tissues from a box. Gray Yun calmly begins to wipe the spit from his textbook with tissues, completely ignoring Colton Choi's furious shouts of "You dickwad, I'm talking here, hey!" Colton Choi, enraged by the dismissal, yells at Gray Yun to stop wiping and answer him, then violently slaps the desk, startling Eugene Gale, who lets out an AK. Eugene Gale's eyes are wide with terror, his face a mask of fear as the tension in the classroom escalates. If one thinks one step ahead, Colton Choi erupts, unleashing a barrage of insults, branding Eugene Gale a sneaky, dirty little bitch and revealing he's been watching him closely. And, by taking bold actions, the opponent will get caught in your trap. A rolled-up object is slammed down with a resounding impact, foreshadowing the coming clash. Sickening smash reverberates as Colton Choi's threat is cut short by a pained grunt. Gray Yun, undeterred, thinks to himself that he doesn't care if he's called dirty. The classroom erupts in chaos, students recoiling in terror with a collective IK as the violence unfolds before them. Gray Yun stands firm, a book in hand, as he faces his opponent. His resolve hardens, thinking that the only thing that matters to him is the outcome. Colton Choi coughs violently, blood trickling from his mouth, a clear sign of the brutal damage he has just sustained. The fierce determination etched on his face, Gray Yun raises the book, poised to deliver another calculated strike. A sharp smack echoes through the room as Gray Yun lands a precise blow with the book, his inner monologue concluding his thought, "is not losing." Colton Choi, utterly enraged, screams at Gray Yun, calling him a dirty fucker and expressing disbelief that he's using a book to dash before his words are cut off. The book, having served its purpose, flies through the air, momentarily suspended in the chaos. Colton Choi, still seething, lets out a dismissive tsk as the book flies past him, preparing to retaliate. A close-up reveals Colton Choi's fist hurtling towards Gray Yun's face, a swift and brutal counterattack in motion. With incredible speed, Gray Yun evades the punch and delivers a powerful kick to Colton Choi's midsection, a hawk sound effect marking the impact. Colton Choi crashes to the ground with a loud crash, groaning in pain with a guttural krgh as Gray Yun stands over his defeated form. The Way of Math textbook lies bloodied on the floor, and with a soft SSK, Gray Yun's hand reaches down to retrieve his unconventional weapon. Gray Yun takes a deliberate step, standing tall with the book in hand, as Colton Choi writhes on the floor, screaming HHHK in agony, while Eugene Gale also lies incapacitated. Close-up reveals Colton Choi's tear-streaked face, his hands covering his mouth in a mix of pain and humiliation, as Gray Yun looks on with a steely gaze. Gray Yun holds the blood-stained textbook high above his head, a symbol of his brutal and decisive victory. The scene shifts to an exterior shot of the school, as the narrator recounts that this pivotal moment occurred on a late summer day in his final year of middle school. Gray Yun stands with a renewed resolve, his eyes burning with determination, the bloodied book still clutched in his hand. The bloodied textbook is once again held aloft, a stark reminder of the battle fought and the price of victory. In a hospital room, Gray Yun stands over a bandaged figure, a solemn expression on his face, as he makes a silent vow, "I swore." A close-up of Gray Yun's intense gaze reveals the depth of his conviction, his eyes reflecting a newfound resolve. Gray Yun stands resolute, holding the bloodied book, his head tilted upwards as he continues his solemn declaration, "To never." The blood-stained textbook is again raised high as Gray Yun completes his powerful oath, "Lose again." Back in the hospital room, Gray Yun stands, his gaze fixed on the injured patient, reaffirming his profound vow. Gray Yun's fierce, unyielding expression is highlighted once more, his determination unwavering. Standing tall with the bloodied book, Gray Yun's resolute posture speaks volumes of his commitment to his oath. Visceral close-up of Colton Choi's battered face, blood streaming from his nose and mouth, highlights the brutal impact, marked by the sounds split and kuff. Gray Yun's hand grips the blood-soaked textbook, the repeated split sound effects emphasizing the raw, violent power unleashed. As Gray Yun's hand clenches the blood-soaked textbook, the sheer violence of his actions leaves Colton Choi utterly stunned, his mind reeling. Who the hell is that freak? Beside him, Eugene Gale is paralyzed by terror, unable to comprehend, and how can someone who looks like that be so brutal? With each deliberate step, Gray Yun walks past the stunned bullies. Colton Choi and Eugene Gale flinch, Eugene Gale letting out a visible gulp as the true extent of Gray Yun's ferocity sinks in. Gray Yun strides through the classroom, the quiet taps of his footsteps echoing the tension. Every eye in the room is fixed on him, a mixture of fear and disbelief etched on their faces. Gray Yun calmly places the blood-soaked textbook onto Eugene Gale's desk. Eugene Gale can only stare, a silent gulp of terror catching in his throat as the grim reality of the situation settles. With meticulous precision, Gray Yun wipes the blood from the textbook with a clean tissue, his movements chillingly composed. Eugene Gale remains frozen, a witness to the aftermath of Gray Yun's unleashed fury. A chilling close-up reveals Gray Yun's cold, calculated gaze, his expression devoid of emotion as he finishes cleaning the evidence of his brutal efficiency. Leaving his defeated foes sprawled on the classroom floor, Gray Yun calmly takes his seat, meticulously wiping the blood from his textbook, a silent testament to the raw power he just displayed. Brutal scene seared a single, undeniable truth into the minds of every student present, a truth reflected in the wide, terrified eyes of Colton Choi. The unspoken command hung heavy in the air, "Don't ever mess with Gray Yun." He continued to calmly wipe his book, the message loud and clear without a single word. For Colton Choi, the realization hit hard. It's over. There's no way I can turn this situation around. His face contorted in despair, the weight of his defeat crushing him. Colton Choi clutches his head in despair, his thoughts raging. Evan, that idiot, screwed up the situation even more. Beside him, the bloodied form of Evan lies motionless on the floor, a stark reminder of their utter defeat. Outside classroom 1 to 8, the whispers of the incident spread, drawing curious glances from students who witnessed the aftermath. A student with long, brown hair leans on a desk, his voice laced with surprise, asking, again, as he discusses the recent events. The long-haired student continues, remarking to his peer, "Damn, that kid Gray Yun is even more of a fighter than you." He adds, emphasizing Gray Yun's prowess, "He was once in 3 fights in a single day." Student with crossed arms responds, his expression grim, explaining, "It's because everyone thinks they might beat him because he just looks like a pretty boy, even after he's shown his cruel side." He concludes they just can't believe what they've seen. The long-haired student muses, "Probably." He then ponders the implications of the defeat. If Colton Choi and Evan Yu were defeated, it's game over for that class, isn't it? The student with crossed arms confirms, "Game over for sure." He then reveals his own aggressive ambition, "Though I wanted to be the one to crush that fgur Colton Choi." The long-haired student playfully taunts, "Like hell you did. You would have been beaten to a pulp by Colton Choi." The other student snaps back, "Ah, shut up. I could take that SOB any day." The long-haired student smiles, dismissing the argument. Yeah. Anyway, Jimmy Bay seems quiet so far." Crossed arms student asserts, his goons were completely defeated. He won't embarrass himself again with some half-baked plan. He concludes he won't make any rash moves. As Gray Yun stands calmly in the background, the crossed-arms student reflects, "That kid, he's a fighting dog, despite how he looks." A masked student peers into the classroom from the doorway, his thoughts echoing with a single name, Gray Yun? The masked student's thoughts reveal his disdain, so that moron Jimmy Bay didn't even go himself. He sent Jack Hong and his goons instead? As the masked student checks his phone, a new thought strikes him. Come to think of it, it's almost like he's imitating Donald Na. Dean Kwan clutches his head in exasperation in the hallway, exclaiming, "Ah, what the hell? Not a thing's going the way I planned." His frustration boils over as he curses, "Jimmy Bay, you overhyped piece of junk." Lounging casually, Teddy Jean reiterates his orders with a cold tone. "Like I said, we're gonna crush Ben Park." Teddy Jean remains reclined, his relaxed posture belying the harsh command he just issued, his eyes fixed on some unseen point. Teddy Jean continues, addressing the students before him, "I haven't heard a single word from Philip Kim since the incident." He concludes, "So it looks like we're gonna have to find an opening on our own." Teddy Jean's face twists in a scowl as he grumbles, "But what's still nagging the FCK out of me is how Helmet was so pathetically embarrassed." The heavily bandaged student, likely Helmet, looks up with a weary hum. Meanwhile, Teddy Jean's thoughts continue, "There he goes again, that fking douche, Bay." Still reeling from past events, the heavily bandaged Eugene Gale looks up as Colton Choi, with a sneer, directly challenges him, asking if he feels any shame. Colton Choi, leaning back with a sly grin, extends a dubious offer of redemption, suggesting they manipulate events to make their opponents initiate the conflict. Eugene Gale, still bandaged and looking up with a wary expression, questions Colton Choi, trying to understand the nature of this so-called chance. Colton Choi's eyes narrow with intensity as he clarifies his terms. Eugene Gale must clean up the mess he made and retaliate against the one who inflicted his injuries. Eugene Gale's eyes widen in shock, his bandaged face contorting into a look of utter disbelief as he questions if he's expected to face this challenge alone. Colton Choi's voice, unseen but cutting, labels Eugene Gale a lardass and asserts his generosity, setting a harsh, demanding tone. With a sneer, Colton Choi continues to berate Eugene Gale, reminding him of the humiliating gossip surrounding his defeat by the Eunjang Fgers. Colton Choi, seated, presses Eugene Gale further, questioning his resolve and taunting him about being tossed around by a no-name. Eugene Gale looks down, his bandaged face etched with distress as he struggles to formulate a response to Colton Choi's relentless provocation. A close-up reveals Eugene Gale's bandaged face, beads of sweat forming on his brow, his eye reflecting a mixture of fear and growing determination. The hardened expression, Eugene Gale declares his acceptance, vowing to finish the job on his own, while his internal thoughts seethe with a furious, repeated curse. Colton Choi smirks, expressing satisfaction and anticipation for Eugene Gale's actions, while Teddy Jean, observing, mentally notes Colton Choi's blatant arrogance. Colton Choi dismisses the other students, stating that their discussion is concluded for now, but indicates he has more to discuss with an individual named Jack Kong. Student with the distinctive haircut responds with a simple okay, while Eugene Gale, still visibly anxious, fidgets nervously. Colton Choi, his patience clearly wearing thin, sharply questions Eugene Gale, who remains standing, asking if he failed to hear the dismissal. Eugene Gale quickly realizes his mistake, uttering "Oh, that's right," before hastily rushing away, his back to the viewer. As Eugene Gale walks away, his internal thoughts are consumed by a frustrated, repeated curse, his anger simmering beneath the surface. Jean Gale's bandaged face contorts in a grimace as he internally reflects that his tormentor wouldn't speak so casually if they had seen the demon he faced. A close-up on Eugene Gale's bandaged hand, his finger throbbing, visually emphasizes the pain and lingering trauma from his recent ordeal. Eugene Gale grapples with the daunting question of how he could possibly defeat his opponent, only to be harshly interrupted by another student telling him to quit bitching. Whispers circulate through the school halls, detailing Colton Choi's past humiliation and the brutal defeat of Evan Yu, sparking speculation about a new power's rise. Students discuss the possibility of a new individual taking over Class 5, struggling to recall the name of this rising force, which is finally revealed as Gray Yun. Despite the growing rumors, a student expresses disbelief, questioning how a twig like him could be so influential, highlighting the lingering doubt surrounding Gray Yun. The narration confirms that any remaining doubt was shattered by the decisive defeat of Evan Yu, solidifying Gray Yun's reputation as an undeniable force. The two brutal fights that transpired within the classroom walls had irrevocably cemented Gray Yun's position, establishing his authority among his peers. Gray Yun walks with an aura of quiet confidence down the school hallway, other students in the background observing him with a mix of surprise and apprehension. A close-up on Gray Yun's face reveals a sharp, determined gaze, his expression resolute and calm, a stark contrast to his earlier timid demeanor. A dark, intense visual depicts a blood-stained shirt and a gripping hand, accompanied by heavy breathing, hinting at a past violent encounter or a painful memory. Blurred figures of shocked students cover their faces, their internal questions echoing. Why did he do that? Is he insane? Why? Reflecting the horror of an unseen event. Gray Yun's gaze is sharp, his mind reeling. He acknowledges that this situation feels entirely different, unlike anything he has faced before. His internal monologue continues, a stark admission. This entire scenario, he confesses, was meticulously orchestrated and planned by him. His resolve hardens, a silent vow to utilize every available resource at his disposal. He will deploy any means necessary, whether it's strategic manipulation, mind games, or whatever else it takes to achieve his objective. A student urgently questions the truth of the rumors circulating, while another insists on the validity of his own account to Eugene Gale. Eugene Gale, visibly shaken, confirms he witnessed the events firsthand, specifically mentioning Colton Choi and another individual named Evan. The students watch Gray Yun, bewildered by his sudden rise. They marvel at how someone who seems so physically unassuming could now be considered their class's new number one. The student clutches his chin in disbelief, utterly astonished by the turn of events. Eugene Gale, with a bandaged nose, states with conviction that Gray Yun's true power is undeniable in a fight, declaring him unbeatable. Dark-haired student agrees that Gray Yun is peculiar, while the others collectively flinch, startled by something unseen. The dark-haired student reflects, realizing it was Gray Yun who made the notorious Yusun High students flee in fear. The dark-haired student utters Gray Yun's name, prompting a silent, stunned reaction from the other students. Bowl-cut student asks if they just saw Gerard Jean, the infamous madhound of Dui Middle School. Eugene Gale, however, only knows him as a quiet individual. Eugene Gale continues to describe Gerard Jean as someone who rarely speaks and is known for sleeping through all his classes. Eugene Gale expresses his frustration, shocked that the others are unaware of the legendary figure from Dui Middle School. As the bell rings, interrupting their conversation, Eugene Gale rushes off, leaving the other student to realize that Eugene himself might not fully grasp the legend he was recounting. This dramatic event, a powerful kick to the face, shattered the monotony of the school year. The incident rapidly became the most talked-about subject among the students of Unjang High. In the aftermath, Gray Yun began to forge his reputation, his name now echoing through the school halls. Meanwhile, at Yusun High, a different narrative was unfolding. Despite his recent defeat by Gray Yun, Harper Ha, the proud delinquent and class number 1 of Yusun High, maintained his imposing presence. Nicknamed Helmet, Harper Ha's head felt like it would crack under the immense pressure of his worries, his frustrations palpable. Hugo Yoon, a self-proclaimed second-grade delinquent, observes Harper Ha groaning in distress, wondering why Helmet seems so furious today. A smartphone vibrates intensely on the desk, signaling an incoming call. Harper Ha snatches the phone, his face still etched with anger, demanding to know who is calling. Harper Ha listens intently, his expression shifting to outrage as he questions if a union conference is being held without his inclusion. Harper Ha explodes in frustration, raging about the impossible task of finding and crushing the Unjang fucker in a single day, convinced it's a deliberate setup to mess with him. Still on the call, Harper Ha concedes that he'll have to find a way to complete the daunting task before abruptly ending the conversation. Harper Ha slumps back, letting out a heavy sigh of defeat while Hugo Yoon cautiously attempts to get his attention. Hugo Yoon, with an unsettling grin, reveals that some Unjang students attend his cram school. Hugo Yoon offers his assistance in locating someone, his eyes narrowing cunningly. Helmet bursts into mocking laughter, ridiculing Hugo Yoon's mention of a cram school and demanding if he's joking. Hugo Yoon recoils in terror, profusely apologizing. Helmet, meanwhile, internally chides himself for momentarily forgetting that he is known as the demon Helmet. Helmet pauses, a new thought dawning on him. Helmet internally acknowledges the recklessness of trying to infiltrate Unjang High alone to identify a specific target. Hugo Yoon lets out a nervous laugh while Helmet, lost in thought, considers that having Hugo Yoon investigate his cram school would serve as sufficient proof of his efforts. Helmet leans in, demanding to know the location of Hugo Yoon's cram school. Helmet's intense gaze remains fixed as he reiterates his question about the cram school's whereabouts. A dramatic text box questions if this is the start of something significant as Helmet's mouth stretches into a wide, unsettling grin. The narration continues, speculating if this is the dawn of Hugo Yoon and Helmet's reign over the academy streets as they stand with other masked figures amidst the glowing signs of cram schools. Helmet sternly orders Hugo Yoon to stop his fidgeting and start providing answers. Hugo Yoon, looking nervous, reveals the cram school is called Hero Cram School near Noryangjin, attended by high schoolers from across Yeongdeungpo. Helmet acknowledges the information and instructs Hugo Yoon to send a screenshot of the location on maps later. Helmet exhales, internally rationalizing that this minimal effort will at least make it seem like a genuine attempt on his part. He continues his internal monologue, aiming to avoid harassment from the maniac Jimmy Bay. Helmet taps his phone, thinking about smoothly navigating this disgraceful situation. His thoughts conclude with the desire for someone else to have a bad time, as another student with blonde hair and headphones appears beside him, looking distressed. Helmet smirks, realizing that Jack Hong would be a much easier connection to obtain than the hard-headed freak. Helmet looks surprised as a map of Hero Cram School appears on his phone screen. Helmet questions Hugo Yoon, surprised that he had his number, while Hugo Yoon awkwardly confirms it. Helmet dismisses the surprise, stating he will contact Hugo Yoon when he has business at the cram school and warns him to be ready. Hugo Yoon nervously agrees, tapping his phone. Male student confidently declares his departure amidst a city backdrop. With a powerful hawk, Alex delivers a fierce punch to a boxing machine. The machine beeps loudly, displaying a score of 870. Alex laughs confidently, declaring that score will be hard to beat. A second male student, flexing his bicep, questions Alex's score of 870, playfully accusing him of holding back. Alex, standing beside another student, silently considers the challenge, realizing the other person is likely not bluffing. The second student, with a determined huff, prepares to unleash a powerful punch, his arm tensed with visible energy. Colton Choi's powerful punch connects with the machine, the impact echoing with a resounding whack and a strained creak as the mechanism groans under the force. Eugene Gale's eyes widen in disbelief, muttering about the sheer force of the sound. Colton Choi lets out a sinister K-E-K-E-K-E-K-E-K-E while an unseen observer wonders if it's truly impossible to beat such a score as the machine settles with a thud. The machine's display flashes, revealing an astonishing score of 970. Colton Choi confidently calls out to his next opponent, acknowledging the futility of trying to beat his score, yet mockingly suggesting there's still beauty in the attempt. He ponders his approach, a quiet escaping his lips. As he takes deliberate step towards the machine, Colton Choi's mocking K-K-K echoes. He stands before the punching machine, his gaze fixed on the target. A swift, almost imperceptible movement is signaled by a sharp SSK. Then, a resounding thwack rips through the air. He unleashes a powerful kick, connecting with the machine in a blur of motion. Colton Choi roars in disbelief, questioning the foul play of a kick, while Eugene Gale, despite the surprise, remarks on the sheer power of the impact. The machine's display flashes brightly, showing a perfect score of 999. He grins victoriously, declaring his win and savoring his revenge for a past pool game with a triumphant mwahaha. Colton Choi vehemently accuses him of cheating, yelling that it's a punching machine, not a kicking one. He calmly retorts that no such rules were established, as Colton Choi continues to rage, emphasizing the word punch. Colton Choi's furious expression is barely visible as two imposing figures, accompanied by a motorcycle, observe the scene from a bridge 3 meters above. Student with a bandaged forehead thinks grimly, realizing this problem is far more complex than simply overpowering Ben. He further muses, acknowledging that the twig from earlier cannot be underestimated either. Addressing his companion, he warns that a misstep could lead to them being completely overwhelmed by Eunjang. He retorts, implying his companion doesn't truly understand Jimmy's capabilities. He continues, emphasizing that Jimmy gets things done when he puts his mind to it. A new, bloodied figure appears, chastising his companion for venturing out alone. He thinks with conviction that one day, Jimmy will dominate everything, whether it be Eunjang or all of Yongdongpo. The towering facade of Hero High School stands illuminated against the night sky. Gray Yun rummages through his bag, a soft rustle accompanying his search for his notes. Gray Yun recalls lending his notes to someone, mentally picturing the student who looks like this. Gray Yun's thoughts are confirmed as he spots the student he lent his notes to, a silent look indicating his attention. The student with long dark hair smirks, confident that he will soon dominate Yusun. He notices Gray Yun's gaze and responds with a questioning Gray Yun replies, "What?" Gray Yun exclaims OH as he continues to rummage through his bag. Gray Yun finally pulls out a tattered, green notebook, dropping it with a soft thud onto the desk. Its pages are worn and ragged, hinting at its age and frequent use. In a different scene, Colton Choi, with a sly grin, hands Eugene Gale a worn book, asking if it still has all its pages. An unseen student casually remarks that it's been through a few of us, before Colton Choi dismissively tells Eugene Gale not to be a bitch and make a fuss about it. Colton Choi leans back, gesturing nonchalantly, inviting someone to join him for a smoke. The tension in the room is palpable as other students, including Eugene Gale, visibly tremble in silent fear. Female student, her face contorted in a mix of fear and indignation, internally seethes, wondering, who the hell does that ugly squid face think he is? Her body trembles uncontrollably, betraying her inner turmoil. Her gaze drops, her thoughts continuing to swirl around the victim, Eugene Gale. She observes that the kid is so meek and mild, lamenting that this very nature makes him an easy target, leading to others taking advantage of him. A silent beat passes, her expression deepening with concern as she continues to observe the unfolding situation, her lips slightly parted in silent distress. Her gaze falls upon Gray Yun, her thoughts drifting to his delicate features. She muses about those lashes, his skin, then a pang of helplessness strikes as she wonders, what can I do? She recognizes his vulnerability, concluding that he's such a baby that he can't even protest. Her eyes, magnified by her glasses, keenly observe Gray Yun. A new thought emerges. Wonder what his name is? She expresses a desire to know more. I'd like to know, referring to him as the mysterious, nameless boy. Clenching her fist with determination, the female student makes a silent vow. Just you wait, she thinks, a fierce resolve burning within her. Big sis here will be sure to protect you. The scene shifts to a vending machine, its shelves stocked with various drinks. An unseen student exclaims, "Damn, for real," reacting to some surprising news or gossip. A group of students gathers by the vending machine. Hugo Yoon, a long-haired student, chuckles, "Cuckoo, I'm telling you, man." The spiky-haired student questions, "What's their deal?" then adds, annoying everyone else. Hugo Yoon, puffing on a cigarette with a confident smirk, boasts, "I'm the great Hugo Yoon. You ever see me tell a lie?" Hugo Yoon turns to his companion, the spiky-haired student, and grins. "Wow," to rub shoulders with the infamous helmet, he exclaims, followed by a sinister kukuka laugh, clearly enjoying the connection. Hugo Yoon's grin widens, his eyes gleaming with ambition. Yeah, you never know how things will pan out, right? He muses, then reveals his true aspiration. Hell, maybe I'll become one of the Yusun high delinquents through helmet. The spiky-haired student, looking taken aback, interjects with a crucial piece of information. But apparently, even that infamous helmet acts like a scared puppy in front of Jimmy Bay. The conversation continues, highlighting the stark power difference. One student remarks, they're on different levels, clarifying that Jimmy Bay is already on top of Yusun High. Hugo Yoon maintains his unsettling smile, a cigarette between his fingers, as the shadowy, masked figure of Helmet looms in the background, a visual representation of the powerful individual they're discussing. The spiky-haired student takes a sip from his drink, then shifts the topic. Anyway, looks like Yusun must be searching for an opening to crush Eunjang, he speculates, adding that this is to have that Eunjang kid wanted. Hugo Yoon's expression darkens as he recounts the tale. He said that they were nearly evenly matched, but the fight was cut short. He reveals, explaining that, so now Helmet's searching for him to get his revenge. A brief, violent flashback shows a masked figure clashing with a larger opponent. The spiky-haired student takes another drink, pressing for more information. Anything else on him? Other than the fact that he's from Eunjang, he asks, eager for details. Hugo Yoon squints, struggling to recall the details. He's said to be as pale as a vampire and has the eyes of a python. He describes, then fumbles with the name. His name was Grap? Something like that. Hugo Yoon gestures, explaining, anyway, there's a couple of Yoonjangs at this academy. He concludes that So Helmet will do the rest when he comes for the info, implying a direct confrontation is imminent. Spiky-haired student grins, anticipating the drama. Shit, it's gonna be an exciting-ass watch, he exclaims. Hugo Yoon heartily agrees. I know, right? Kukuku. It's been a while, hasn't it? The title card for the chapter flashes across the screen. Weak Hero -8-. Back in the classroom, Gray-Yun sits focused, diligently writing in his notebook, a picture of quiet concentration amidst the school day. Gray-Yun's gaze hardens with resolve as he internally declares, I won't get tangled in those annoying shenanigans anymore. He firmly resolves, and I won't repeat the foolish deeds of my past. As night falls, Gray-Yun gazes out the window, a quiet determination settling over him. If I can just keep this up and stay quiet, he thinks, hoping to maintain his newfound peace. A female student sits beside him, equally absorbed in her own thoughts. Scene shifts back to the earlier conversation as the spiky-haired student challenges Hugo Yoon. Dude, but if a Yusun high big shot like Helmet barges into the academy, he presses, wouldn't you look like a weak loser too? Hugo Yoon's confident demeanor falters slightly. Shit, you think so? He asks, clearly rattled by the implication. The spiky-haired student retorts simply, duh man, driving his point home. Colton Choi, with a sneer, taunts Eugene Gale, calling him a weak loser cooped up in an academy filled with nothing but nerds. Eugene Gale's face twists with anxiety, his thoughts betraying his internal struggle, sarcastically noting that delinquents nowadays also manage to get great grades. His internal monologue continues, a wave of self-loathing washing over him as he curses, feeling that his current situation makes him look weak. As Eugene Gale stares out the window, his inner thoughts paint a bleak picture, dismissing all the Unjang students as nothing more than losers. Suddenly, a persistent buzzing cuts through his thoughts. Eugene Gale looks down, a question mark hovering over his head as he reaches for his vibrating phone. His eyes widen in shock as he sees the caller ID. Helmet, he stammers, surprised the call has come so soon. The nervous gulp, Eugene Gale answers the call, his voice trembling slightly as he greets the unknown caller. Meanwhile, outside the building, Dean Kwan sits casually on his scooter, delivering a blunt order over the phone. I'm in front of the building. Get your ass down here. Eugene Gale's face pales with dread as he stammers an okay. His internal thoughts confirm his fear. He's really here. Back in the classroom, Eugene Gale frantically shakes Colton Choi, exclaiming that Helmet is downstairs right now. Colton Choi looks up, surprised, asking if it's true. As Eugene Gale urges Colton Choi to quickly head downstairs, an unseen student reacts to the name Helmet with a confused thought. Colton Choi agrees, and they move to leave. In a grim scene, a student desperately tries to rouse the severely beaten individual who can only manage pained groans. Gray-Yun stands alone, a deep, unsettling thought crossing his mind. Could it be? Dean Kwan's face, marked by fresh bandages, holds an aggressive and unforgiving expression. Eugene Gale, nervously rubbing his hands, attempts to appease Dean Kwan, suggesting he could have called ahead. Colton Choi's eyes are wide with apprehension. His thoughts reveal that Dean Kwan's presence is far more intimidating in person. Dean Kwan, clearly annoyed, barks at them to shut up and just show me the way. Eugene Gale quickly agrees, nervously pointing the direction. As Dean Kwan, Eugene Gale, and Colton Choi move through the hallway, other students murmur and whisper, their attention drawn to the intimidating group. Dean Kwan surveys the three anxious students, asking if this is the full roster. Eugene Gale quickly confirms, adding dismissively that the remaining students are inconsequential losers. Dean Kwan leans in, his face contorted in a sneer, addressing the students with a harsh hey dash and a dismissive out of you losers. His gaze sharpens as he poses a direct question. Anyone know a guy named Gray-Yun? One nervous student hesitantly admits to knowing only Gray-Yun's name, while another quickly echoes the same sentiment. The student with glasses explains that Gray-Yun seemingly appeared out of nowhere to become the top student in his class. The shorter student adds that Gray-Yun was completely unknown before this, so they don't even recognize his face. Dean Kwan lets out a frustrated sigh, mocking the students for their useless information. Meanwhile, Eugene Gale's thoughts reveal his relief at not finding Gray-Yun, admitting he only pretended to search. Suddenly, a timid voice interrupts the scene. A student politely asks to pass, drawing a curious from Dean Kwan. The student, looking anxious, repeats his request, asking if he could please pass by. Dean Kwan, with a slight smirk, gestures for the student to go ahead. The student quickly moves past the group, his backpack swaying slightly. Dean Kwan and Eugene Gale watch the student disappear down the hallway, their expressions unreadable. The hallway's tension erupts as a brutal blow connects, sending Colton Choi reeling from a powerful strike. The impact echoes with a sharp whack. Colton Choi crashes violently to the floor, his body recoiling from the force, his backpack scattering as he hits the ground with a resounding crash. A hand brutally yanks Colton Choi's hair, forcing his head back as he cries out in agony, his face contorted with pain. "OWW, usage," he groans. The cap-wearing bully looms over Colton Choi, who remains crumpled on the floor. The bully demands to know why Colton Choi is still there, reminding him, "I told you to go ahead." Colton Choi can only manage pained grunts. The bully's face twists into a snarl, his voice filled with menace as he commands, "Pass by me already." Another POW echoes, indicating a continuing assault. Inside the classroom, students watch in horrified silence as the sounds of the beating penetrate the walls. One student desperately asks for someone to intervene, while another admits, "I'm just as scared as you." A female student with pigtails and glasses looks on, her expression etched with fear as she internally labels the aggressors as complete gangsters. The relentless whack, whack, whack of the ongoing assault fills the air, leaving the students paralyzed. The female student wonders, is no one going to stop them? Two male students cringe in terror, one lamenting, "Arg, I shouldn't have ever started this," while the other can only manage a terrified, "Eek, so scary." Tears well in the female student's eyes, her jaw clenched as she resolves, "That's not right." A flicker of defiance ignites in her gaze. Bandaged fist, stained with blood, rises into the frame against a stark, ominous background, signaling an impending intervention. The bandaged fist thrusts forward, a defiant stop emblazoned over it, as a voice calls out, "Hey, helmet," directly challenging the bully mid-attack. The bully's arm is pulled back, poised to deliver another vicious strike to the fallen student, blood already splattering the scene. The bully's fist remains dangerously close to the victim, his intent clear, as the brutal display continues unabated. A tight shot on the bully's face reveals his bandaged nose and a menacing glint in his eye, reflecting his ruthless nature. Again, the bandaged fist appears, commanding stop as the voice reiterates, "Hey, helmet," challenging the bully's aggression. The bully's face is shown again, his bandaged nose prominent, his expression hardening with a mixture of surprise and growing fury. The bully looks up, his face contorted in rage, demanding to know, "What kind of idiot dares to call on me by my nickname at that?" With a fierce glare, the bully turns his head, his eyes scanning the classroom, searching for the audacious individual who dared to interrupt him. Students whisper amongst themselves, unable to clearly see who challenged the bully. Yeah, it seems so," one says while another asks, "Who is he? Can't see him." With a distinct SKRRT sound, Gray Yun stands up from his desk, his posture resolute, preparing to confront the escalating violence. The bully, along with other students, turns their attention to the back of the classroom, where Gray Yun has now risen, his presence commanding attention. Gray Yun begins to walk forward, his steps deliberate as a student wonders, what is up with him? Is he seriously walking up there right now? Soft tap-tap of Gray Yun's footsteps echoes in the tense silence as he advances. Another student, bewildered, asks, does he not understand the situation? The bully points a finger, his expression a mix of anger and confusion, demanding, "That one, walking this way. Who the hell is he?" Another student admits, "I can't tell either." A close-up of the bully's face reveals his intense gaze, a silent threat forming as he anticipates the confrontation. "He can stay tough when we come face to face." Gray Yun continues his measured advance, his tap-tap footsteps cutting through the stunned silence of the observing students. The female student from before watches in disbelief, her eyes wide as she thinks, "Oh my God, he's out of his mind." The tap-tap of footsteps draws closer. Concern fills the faces of the students. The female student desperately thinks, "Someone, stop him," while another worries, "What if he gets assaulted too?" With a final tap-tap, Gray Yun stands silhouetted against a blinding light, his face obscured by shadow, his presence a stark challenge to the bullies. Colton Choi squints through his bandaged face, a flicker of recognition crossing his features. He has a familiar silhouette, he mutters, a hint of unease in his voice. Eugene Gale's eyes widen in disbelief, his voice a strained whisper, "Wait, that fgur." He's beside him, another student simply utters, "Huh?" Subtle SSK sound accompanies Gray Yun as his hand grips a pen, poised and ready. A sharp click echoes as Gray Yun's fingers activate the pen, a quiet prelude to the chaos about to unfold. Colton Choi's eyes, wide with terror, stare ahead, his bandaged face contorted in pure disbelief as he fully registers the identity of the newcomer. Philip Kim, the former #1 of Wido Middle School, looks up with a serious expression at the imposing figure standing before him, a distinctive tattoo visible on the taller man's arm. The shadow still obscures Gray-Yun's eyes, but a subtle click confirms his readiness, his expression unreadable. A heavy thump reverberates as Colton Choi's face contorts in sheer terror, his eyes bulging and mouth agape, staring up at an unseen threat. Thump continues, drawing attention to Colton Choi's single, bloodshot eye, which reflects unadulterated primal fear. Colton Choi screams in agony, his hands flailing defensively as he's slammed against the wall, a single tear escaping his terror-stricken eye. Gray-Yun delivers a brutal punch, smashing Colton Choi's head into the wall as fragments of plaster explode outwards from the impact. Colton Choi's face is a mask of pure anguish, his mouth wide in a silent, agonizing scream, eyes rolled back as the full force of the blow takes its toll. Gray-Yun stands composed, his fist clenched, a subtle spark of power emanating from his knuckles, ready to continue his assault. Eugene Gale, with a dismissive gesture, addresses Colton Choi, reassuring him. There's no need to worry about him, Helmet. He's just a loser. Eugene Gale's expression shifts to confusion, his brow furrowed as he thinks, huh? What's going on? Eugene Gale looks on, a question mark hanging in the air as Colton Choi stands with his head bowed, an uncharacteristic silence emanating from him. Visible tremble shakes Colton Choi's body, betraying the profound fear that has gripped him. Eugene Gale's confusion deepens as he wonders, the hell is he trembling for? Colton Choi's mind races, his fear palpable as he internally curses. FCK, I was just trying to make a statement by coming here. He then questions, what the hell is that demon doing here? Why? Gray-Yun stands calmly opposite a defeated Colton Choi, while Eugene Gale, with a bloody nose, stares in shock, silently questioning, why? The faint click-click of Gray-Yun's pen punctuates the tense silence. A wave of murmur sweeps through the classroom as students react with shock and confusion to the unfolding confrontation. With another decisive click, Gray-Yun's hand readies his pen, a small spark of determination flickering around it. The pen clicks once more in Gray-Yun's grip, a rhythmic sound in the heavy atmosphere. A powerful throb emanates from Colton Choi's bandaged fist, a testament to the pain he endures or the suppressed rage within. Colton Choi's internal monologue continues, his gaze fixed on Gray-Yun's cold, intense eye as he thinks, not against this monster. Despair fills Colton Choi's eye as the crushing realization settles in. I can't win. Eugene Gale stutters, his internal conflict evident as he nervously thinks, should I stop him? Eugene Gale's unease grows as he thinks, this is getting weird. The Mad Hound Helmet staying this quiet? Eugene Gale's thoughts recall Colton Choi's true nature. He's the type to go apes hit over the smallest annoyance. The memory flashes, showing Colton Choi delivering brutal, whack blows, screaming, keep that mouth shut. With a final click from Gray-Yun's pen, he stands beside a defeated Colton Choi, the silence speaking volumes about the shift in power. The silence that followed Gray-Yun's victory over Colton Choi is punctuated by a subtle, unsettling SSK as the defeated bully struggles to comprehend his new reality. Colton Choi's menacing presence casts a dark shadow over Eugene Gale, who instinctively recoils from the bully's intimidating gaze. Within the classroom, Eugene Gale averts his gaze, trapped under the watchful eyes of Colton Choi and another intimidating student. Eugene Gale's face, bruised and tear-streaked with blood, reveals the raw pain and despair of his ordeal. Gray-Yun's gaze sharpens, a calculated confidence now replacing his previous vulnerability, hinting at the true depth of his cunning. Colton Choi's defeat is absolute, his face a swollen, tear-soaked mess of blood and despair, signifying his complete breakdown. Gray-Yun moves with a quiet swiftness, a wish accompanying his composed departure from the volatile scene. Gray-Yun calmly exits the scene, leaving Colton Choi defeated on the floor as Eugene Gale watches with a mix of shock and relief. The classroom door slams shut with a definitive thud, making Eugene Gale flinch, sealing off the recent confrontation. The narrator explains that moment, revealing that Colton Choi's emotion wasn't humiliation from failing to act. The narrator continues, but relief, as Colton Choi's bandaged hand clenches, throbbing with a newfound, unexpected sensation. From an overhead perspective, Colton Choi stands over Eugene Gale, who remains on the floor, while another student observes the aftermath. The scene shifts to the exterior of Unjang High, a typical school day unfolding as students move about the campus. Eugene Gale hums softly to himself, a rare moment of peace reflected in his expression, marking a shift in his demeanor. Eugene Gale walks down the school hallway, humming contentedly and tapping his feet, approaching classroom 1 to 5. Eugene Gale reflects, so everything turned out just the way I thought it would in the beginning. A slight smile graces Eugene Gale's face as he settles into his seat, placing items into his bag, enjoying the newfound calm. The narrator observes, Colton Choi looks like he comes to school just to sleep now, as the once dominant bully rests his head on his desk. Narrator notes that Evan you can't even seem to stay in the classroom when it's not class time, as he and another bandaged student exit. Eugene Gale looks wistfully, thinking of the life I could only dream of, yet he clarifies, I don't even wish for an exciting and fun school life. Eugene Gale clenches his fists, his thoughts clear. All I ask is for it to just as peaceful as it is now. Eugene Gale muses, well, even Gray Yun is sleeping all day starting this morning. Eugene Gale observes Gray Yun, who is fast asleep, head down on his desk, undisturbed by the world around him. Eugene Gale thoughtfully pulls the curtains closed with a soft creep and deciding he should draw the curtains for him. Gray Yun remains deeply asleep, his head resting peacefully on the desk, oblivious to the world. Serene close-up of Gray Yun's closed eye highlights his profound and peaceful slumber. A new figure, pulling the curtains further, explains, you're supposed to draw the curtains for maximum deep sleep potential. A voice expresses concern, I'm so worried about you, it's driving me nuts, man, haha. Before reassuring, just follow my lead and you'll be fine. Question is posed, why are you so hellbent on studying, Gray? As a hand meticulously fills out an English test. One figure advises another, you just stay put even if anything happens in the classroom, emphasizing a quiet resolve. Gray Yun flinches awake, his head still resting on his arms at the desk, a sudden tremor disrupting his quiet repose. A thought bubble appears above Gray Yun, a dawning realization that he had fallen asleep. Gray Yun's eyes slowly open, his mind drifting as he wonders if he'd ever slept so soundly recently. Gray Yun notices Eugene Gale standing by the window, staring intently at the drawn curtains, prompting Gray Yun to silently question the drawn curtains. Eugene Gale adjusts his glasses, a look of deep concentration mixed with concern on his face as he pores over his history textbook. Gray Yun observes Eugene Gale, a silent question forming in his mind. Can he even see properly through those thick glasses? Eugene Gale looks startled as Gray Yun suggests he'd see much better with the curtains open, responding with a confused huh. Gray Yun calmly tells Eugene Gale that since he's finished sleeping, the curtains can now be opened. Eugene Gale hesitantly agrees, reaching for the curtains with a soft, oh, okay, as the sound of fabric scraping begins. Eugene Gale pulls the curtains wide open with a distinct sound, allowing a rush of natural light to flood into the room. Gray Yun's eyes narrow, a subtle hint of discomfort crossing his face as the bright light hits him. Colton Choi, with a smug smile, orders Gray Yun to get up, telling him he's done snoozing, and then suggests they leave the classroom. Gray Yun's eye twitches subtly, a flicker of annoyance or lingering drowsiness in his gaze. Eugene Gale looks utterly distraught, apologizing profusely and thinking he must have hurt Gray Yun's eyes by opening the curtains too quickly. Eugene Gale blushes, flustered, while Gray Yun silently wonders about Eugene's sad, dreamy eyes, a soft SSK sound accompanying the moment. Two students in the classroom observe the unusually quiet atmosphere, one remarking that the class has been a bit too silent lately, to which the other agrees, well, yeah. Jean attributes the unusual quietness to Gray Yun, stating he's never experienced such an atmosphere at Unjang High, a sentiment echoed by Eugene Gale with a true dat. Eugene Gale, visibly nervous, stutters as he tries to start a conversation, trailing off with an uncertain, you know? Eugene Gale nervously informs Gray Yun that they are scheduled for duty together next week. Gray Yun looks directly at Eugene Gale, simply stating, I know. Eugene Gale, slightly taken aback but relieved, responds, yeah, okay, then assures Gray Yun he can count on him if he can't make it early. From behind, Gray Yun calmly states that he is always there earlier than Eugene anyway, implying no need for concern. Eugene Gale looks utterly shocked by Gray Yun's blunt statement, letting out a small peep of surprise. A student observes the entire classroom, remarking, man, our class really did get quiet. Camera focuses on a classroom sign, clearly labeling it 1-to-1. A smartphone rings with a ding, displaying a message from Royce Na to Philip requesting an update. Philip Kim holds his smartphone, a thoughtful, almost concerned expression on his face as he processes the incoming message. Philip Kim's face contorts in anger, biting his lip as he mentally curses Royce Na, recalling that Royce Na's idiot friend was the doormat Colton Choi. Royce Na, wearing an eye patch, recounts with visible frustration how a sneaky fucker sprayed dirt in his eyes and then whacked him in the eye at the underpass. Sneaky fucker delivers a brutal whack with a phone, directly impacting Royce Na's face and eye. From a rooftop overlooking the city, a male character with spiky hair barks orders to Royce Na, telling him, then take Eddie Moore and the others and fucking take care of it. Royce Na, in his red cap, reveals, actually, I was there with both Moore and Colton. The spiky-haired male character, deep in thought, questions the outcome. So you lost 3-1? Royce Na, his face contorted in humiliation and still wearing an eye patch, pleads desperately, hey, we're cousins, right? Just help me so I don't look like a bitch, please? The spiky-haired male character with a beard ponders, you and your stupid ego aside, why the fuck is Ben Park tangled in this shit? I don't know about the others, but Ben, I don't see an answer to that fucker. He then curses under his breath, fuck. Still contemplating, the spiky-haired male character thinks, regarding Ben, if I can just wait it out, it does look like Jimmy Bay will take care of him. A spectral image of an angry, blonde youth with headphones flashes in his mind. The male character's thoughts halt abruptly. His hand clutches his phone, displaying Jimmy Bay's contact. Then, he considers, before mentally stopping himself with a firm stop. The spiky-haired male character, holding his phone, concludes his internal monologue. Does that mean I have to keep my mouth shut and lay low until Jimmy Bay makes a move and crushes Ben? Piercing, intense gaze with striking pink eyes is revealed, hinting at a formidable presence. The spiky-haired male character's eye narrows in contemplation, his hand resting thoughtfully on his chin. The light-haired male student, his eyes obscured by his hair, delivers a cold retort. 1. There's no reason for me to apologize, and 2. I have no idea who the fuck you are. The spiky-haired male character's brow furrows in irritation. He thinks, son of a bitch, then vocalizes, The spiky-haired male character watches from inside as the calm, light-haired student stands outside the window. The light-haired student maintains a composed, almost detached expression, his gaze steady. The spiky-haired male character's eye remains fixed, scrutinizing the student outside. Liquid streams down Gray-Yun's face and hair, dripping onto his uniform as a zzz sound fills the air, his eye betraying deep distress. Drenched and humiliated, Gray-Yun stands holding a blue trash can, liquid still dripping from his form. From an overhead perspective, Gray-Yun looks up, his drenched face etched with distress, as a soft SK sound accompanies his gaze. From above, a male student taunts, Class 5, champ, while Teddy Jean with a smug smile adds, what's with the intensity in your eyes? Cuckoo. Can't believe that loser is number 1. Drenched but defiant, Gray-Yun's eyes burn with intensity as he challenges, and you're from Class 1? Looking up, Gray-Yun faces his tormentors as Teddy Jin's voice rings out, hey, I heard you're just an absolute warrior. Teddy Jin's smug grin widens as he warns, better stop acting cocky over taking a pushover like Colton. Teddy Jin's face transforms from smugness to pure menace, his eyes wide with a murderous intent as he coldly states, kill you. Drenched and facing a deadly threat, Gray-Yun's gaze remains intensely focused, a new resolve hardening his expression. The spiky-haired male character's eye narrows once more as he thinks, forget about Ben for a second, though. The light-haired male student reiterates his defiant stance. 1. There's no reason for me to apologize, and 2. I have no idea who the fuck you are. A narrative box reveals, former number 1 of Imdo Middle School, Philip Kim. The spiky-haired male character glances at his phone as the narration adds, actually, he was never a talented fighter. Narrative box poses a critical question. Then how? As Donald Na, with his distinctive blonde hair and sharp features, sits regally in an armchair within a gym, flanked by 2 imposing figures. Colton Choi, with a smug grin, proudly declares he just acquired a new Yamaha motorcycle, prompting one student to exclaim, damn, while another student labels him a spoiled brat. The narration reveals Colton Choi's predatory habit. He constantly scans his surroundings, always searching for his next victim. With a chilling smirk spreading across his face, Colton Choi ensures he holds the undeniable advantage before making his move. True to form, Colton Choi aggressively grabs Gray-Yun by the collar, demanding, the fuck you looking at? As Gray-Yun responds with a startled huh. Colton Choi delivers a brutal whack to Gray-Yun, declaring, this should teach you where to look. Gray-Yun, bleeding and in pain, thinks, this fucker is going too far, as he groans, KRR. A narrative box simply states, but signaling a shift in perspective or a new challenge. Narration clarifies that Colton Choi's brutal tactics prove ineffective against those who possess greater strength. Meanwhile, Jonathan Moon aggressively tells someone on the phone, I'm telling you, you stupid fuck, as Colton Choi observes him, internally noting, Jonathan Moon. Jonathan Moon, still on the phone, laughs kukuka after saying, yeah, alright. Behind him, Colton Choi's thoughts drift to his rivals. That fucker Jonathan Moon, Mike O, and Lucas Sook. Colton Choi's eyes narrow with ambition as he thinks, if only I could crush these 3, I could take over Imdo Middle School. Colton Choi stands with his affluent parents, who operate a large commercial real estate business. As the narration reveals, they effortlessly resolved his problems. Korean banknotes flutter through the air, visually representing the immense power of money that Colton Choi's parents wield. A student announces, Philip Kim wants everyone at XX Pub in front of Uedo Station today. Another asks, can we get in there? With a third adding, ID checks are really tight lately. A fourth student laughs, all thanks to Philip? Haha. The second student then asks, you're going, right? To which another enthusiastically replies, hell yeah, I'm going. Cool. I heard that place is real nice. The exterior of the HOF pub is illuminated at night, with several motorcycles parked neatly outside, setting the scene for the gathering. Inside the bustling pub, Colton Choi and a group of students are surrounded by food and drinks, the atmosphere filled with continuous chatter. As the narration observes, it was too easy. The narration describes their first sip of rebellion and the alluring excitement of becoming part of a group. A student in a red cap teases, you've never had a drink before, have you? To which a nervous student retorts, yes, I have. Shut up, you idiot. Student asks Colton Choi, mistaking him for Philip Kim, hey Philip, how'd you get us in here? Colton Choi confidently replies, dude, there ain't a damn place on this earth I can't get in, followed by a self-satisfied cuckoo. Colton Choi, holding a can, muses, by the way, Jonathan Moon is really getting on my nerves lately. An off-screen voice asks, didn't you say you had a go at him, Harry? Harry, looking distressed, confesses, fuck about that, I was cornered by him a little bit, that fucking meathead. Colton Choi dismisses Harry's excuse with, the fuck kinda excuse is that, dude? Harry, desperate, pleads, we're friends you and I, correct? As a thump echoes. Colton Choi, with a thump, places his arm around a timid Tyler, suggesting to Harry, how about you try again with Tyler over here? Beat the shit out of him. Colton Choi's voice, off-screen, tempts Harry, I'll help you out from behind. What do you say? Harry's face is shown, visibly intrigued by the offer. The narration confirms Philip Kim, positioned at the center, naturally ascended to the highest leadership. He then asserts, don't fuck with us, Moon. A grim close-up reveals a male character's severely beaten and bloodied face, a stark consequence of defying the established power. The male character, likely Philip Kim, displays a sinister, satisfied smirk, reveling in the display of dominance. From an overhead view, Philip Kim stands triumphantly over a defeated and bloody Jonathan Moon in a storage room, while Colton Choi and another student observe the scene. 3 pairs of feet move with distinct tap, tap, tap sounds, indicating a determined advance. A vibrant neon bar sign glows above the entrance of a building, marking a new location. Donald Na, with his distinctive blonde hair, looks intently at the bar and asks, this is the place Philip called us to, right? Donald Na's associate, a dark-haired male, confirms with a thoughtful expression, seems like it. Donald Na's associate questions, you sure we ain't getting kicked out? Donald Na, looking at the bar, muses, kicked out? I mean, it really doesn't look like a place that would let a couple of high schoolers in. The phone buzzes, and Donald Na checks the screen. Oh, he's calling. Donald Na's associate confirms, yeah, I'm in front of the building. He questions, you sure it's this bar? Meanwhile, a voice from within sneers, yeah, come on in, suckers. Donald Na and his associate enter the establishment. A voice welcomes them, welcome to our establishment. As they ascend the stairs, a voice from above informs them, your confidant is waiting in room 7. Inside, a voice comments, damn, Philip Kim's not even a part of the Yongdongpo Union, and he's meeting us at a place like this? Another adds, Silver Spoon stuck up his ass. He's been rolling like this since middle school. Donald Na and his associate peek through a doorway, the sound of chatter audible. Inside a room, a man with spiky hair and a mask grins, raising his hand. You made it. Donald Na and his associate enter the crowded room. Damn, it's crowded, Donald Na remarks. Another voice exclaims, whoa, there are girls too. A man gestures, come here and take a seat. Donald Na asks, what stopped you from coming in? Philip Kim replies, had to burn through one before I got in. Donald Na adds, I was a little scared. Donald Na introduces, these two are Teddy Jean and Chad Jang, my friends from Unjang High. One of the new arrivals greets them, hey, nice to meet you. We're Philip's middle school buddies. He continues, you know the deal. Got separated to different high schools. I landed on Gwanghan High. Donald Na responds, nice meeting you too. He then thinks, he looks intimidating. A woman named Lara Lee introduces herself. Hey, I'm Lara Lee. Glad to meet you. Donald Na replies, yeah, likewise. He then comments, she's hot. Dean Kwan, the man with the spiky hair, gestures playfully. Hey, order some more food. A thought is shared. Felt something when they finally met him in person, seeing his position and grandeur. The image shows a table laden with food and drinks. The group gathers, drinks in hand. A voice states, he's the real deal. Donald Na chuckles, heh, while the associate beside him grins, fucking cool. The image shows the bar from the outside at night. Inside, a voice exclaims, Philip used to beat the shit out of kids behind the school gym. Another voice laughs maniacally, that's right, ha 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 ha. Donald Na asks with a sly smile, so you were just testing the waters since it's still early in the school year? Dean Kwan pours drinks for himself and another, who, taking out small fries one by one. He then elaborates, it's way too frivolous and time-consuming. Not to mention it doesn't do anything for my ego. Donald Na poses a question. You could take over Unjang any day though, right Philip? Donald Na takes a drink, then adds, though you probably couldn't get through Ben Park. Dean Kwan grins, revealing his intentions. Just like you said, I'm still testing the waters, looking for my chance. But there are a few fuckers that are weighing on my mind. Donald Na asks, and who might they be? The associate beside him laughs. If they're small fries, we could do you the favor, haha. Close up on a man's intense eyes. He muses, these freaks were hot shit at Songil Middle School. The table is filled with an assortment of food and drinks, suggesting a feast. A voice suggests, let's ease into that over a few drinks. Overhead, the night sky is clear with a bright moon. A voice states, the night is still young. Exterior of the bar is shown at night, illuminated by a neon sign. Someone inside calls out, hey, hand me over the menu. A classroom door is marked with a sign indicating room 1-1. Two students, Colton Choi with his signature blonde hair and a friend, stand by the window. Colton uncaps a bottle, a faint, zzz sound accompanying the action. Colton Choi takes a long drink from the bottle, his eyes half closed in satisfaction. His friend watches him. Thought bubble appears, asking if the person they are observing is the one Philip was talking about. The camera pans down to reveal Gray Yun walking across the school grounds, carrying a trash can. A voice mocks his appearance and demeanor, calling him a loser. Colton Choi and his friend continue to shake the bottle, their expressions shifting to a more sinister grin. Perfect timing, Colton remarks. Close-up on Gray Yun's face, his expression a mixture of weariness and apprehension. Colton Choi forcefully sprays the contents of the bottle, the liquid erupting outwards with a pissotis sound. The liquid splashes directly onto Gray Yun, who flinches from the impact. The sound of slosh echoes. A dramatic close-up on Gray Yun's face, now drenched and speckled with the liquid. His eyes narrow with a mix of shock and defiance. The sound zzz can be heard. Colton Choi's face fills the frame, a wide, unsettling grin plastered on his face as he holds the bottle. Colton Choi taunts Gray Yun, questioning the intensity in his eyes. His friend looks on with a bewildered expression. He can't believe that loser's number one, Colton sneers. From a higher vantage point, Colton Choi and his friend observe Gray Yun below. Colton calls out, hey, I heard you're just an absolute warrior. Colton Choi's smug expression intensifies as he delivers a warning. Colton Choi's face contorts into a manic grin, his eyes wide with malicious glee. Colton Choi shouts aggressively, demanding to know if Gray Yun understands his threat. A close-up on Gray Yun's eye, reflecting the lingering droplets of liquid. His expression remains stoic, though a hint of anger flickers. The scene shifts to a flashback. A sign reads, cafeteria. The narrator sets the scene. Earlier this semester, in the cafeteria. Colton Choi stands in the cafeteria, holding a tray of food, his usual cocky demeanor on full display. He complains about the fucking plants. Gray Yun stands nearby, a faint smile on his face. Colton Choi looks confused, letting out a questioning, huh? In the cafeteria, Teddy Jean from Class 1 is looking for a seat. He approaches Gray Yun, who is already seated. Colton Choi confronts Gray Yun, his face a mask of anger. What's with the face? You got a problem? He demands. Gray Yun calmly replies, no, you can sit there, while Colton Choi stares with a bewildered expression. The narrator explains that a certain fool was too scared to even look Teddy Jean in the eyes. Colton Choi and his friends are seen tapping their pens, seemingly amused. A close-up on Gray Yun's face, his expression unreadable. The narrator continues, stating that Gray Yun was acting subservient. Gray Yun stands amidst the school grounds, the sound of bing bong echoing around him as he clutches his trash can. He looks up, his face streaked with sweat and dirt. Colton Choi and his friend are seen near a window. Welp, there's the bell, Colton says, before adding with a sinister laugh. You must be feeling sticky. Don't forget to wash it off before class. He. It'll probably still smell, though, heh. The sound of TAK is heard as something strikes a window, creating a sense of urgency. The bing-bong sound repeats as Gray Yun wipes his face, the liquid still dripping. His expression is one of grim determination. Bell has already rung, but Eugene Gale is still lost in thought. He wonders why Gray Yun is so late returning from taking out the trash, and if Gray Yun might be mad at him. He questions if he should have gone instead. The sound of dripping water echoes as a figure enters, their clothes soaked. The DRR sound effect emphasizes their arrival. A loud thud echoes through the classroom as the soaked figure, Gray Yun, enters. The other students react with unease. Gray Yun, still dripping, slumps over his desk. Eugene Gale watches him, his expression a mixture of concern and fear. Eugene Gale looks at Gray Yun, who is still dripping with water. The sound of drip continues to echo. Gray Yun looks up, his eyes filled with a mix of emotions, as he speaks the word, "You." Eugene Gale stammers in surprise, his eyes wide behind his glasses. He exclaims, "EK," his face, as he notices Gray Yun's expression. Gray Yun's gaze intensifies as he asks, "You said you know a lot about the fuckers here, right?" Eugene Gale nervously scratches his head, admitting, "Yeah, I know all about most of them. I'm actually somewhat of a delinquent fan." He seems embarrassed. Gray Yun, his expression unreadable, asks, "What's he all about?" He's referring to someone described as having a short bob cut who got into an argument with Colton Choi in the cafeteria. Eugene Gale ponders Gray Yun's question, muttering, "A bob cut cafeteria," trying to recall the details. A person with blonde hair exclaims, "Teddy Jean, that fucker is an absolute maniac." Eugene Gale looks on in shock. A man with a stern expression, holding a pointer, stands in the classroom. The sound DRRT indicates a sudden movement or disruption. The stern man shouts, "Hey, quiet over there. Did you not hear the bell?" The students, including Eugene Gale, shrink back, saying, "EK," as they are reprimanded. Gray Yun's face is shown in close-up, his expression grim and determined, with the word grit emphasizing his resolve. A sign on a classroom door reads, "1-to-1. A group of students are outside. One student, seemingly agitated, forces a cream pastry onto another student's head, yelling, "I told you, I wanted a cream pastry. Are your ears fucking clogged? You want me to help you with that?" The sound smack indicates the forceful action. A character with sharp features and intense eyes, possibly Teddy Jean, thinks to himself, Jean, so easily controllable." A menacing grin spreads across a character's face as they say, "He'll serve as a great lapdog for me." Jimmy Bay sits casually on a desk, engrossed in his phone, with the tai sound effect indicating his activity. He declares, "There's no need to drag this out. I should crush Gray and Ben while I have the momentum." Character with intense eyes calls out, "Pass the rock, over here." A student with curly hair joyfully exclaims, "Good pass," as he skillfully juggles a soccer ball, making a tap sound. In a soccer game, a player shows off his dribbling skills, yelling, "Ooh, look at me, I'm Bonaldo over here with my dribbling." The sounds t accompany the fast-paced action. As the soccer game continues with a pow sound, one player comments, "Ben Park, you mean gutter ball." The tik sound from a phone suggests someone is observing and possibly communicating. Smug expression is plastered on a character's face as they think, "Laugh while you can." Running around kicking a ball, Ben Park. The tik sound effect plays again. A finger presses the send button on a phone, accompanied by a beep sound. A student stands alone, looking at his phone with a slight smirk, letting out a quiet he, as if pleased with a message he sent. A sign reads 1-to-8, indicating a classroom number. The sounds of chatter suggest a lively atmosphere within. Inside a classroom, students are chatting. One asks, "Anyone have water?" while another replies, "Me too, me too." A student is asleep at his desk. A group of students are discussing plans. One says, "I've been telling you all day about a dinner wager pool tournament. Loser buys snack bar. It's been a while since everyone's been in on it. I'm not about to go through labor to eat your peasant food. SK, douche. Fuck it, we'll get a few more in on it and have a feast of our own. Yeah. You any good? I'm all right. Weak hero." Red SUV screeches to a halt next to a motorcycle outside a building with pool signs. A cat naps on a ledge above. The sound of footsteps tap echoes up a staircase. The sound of footsteps tap continues as someone approaches a door with billiards visible through it. A phone rings, ring ring, as a hand reaches for a door handle. Inside a billiards hall, several students play pool. "What, you Sun High? Never seen that uniform. Excuse me, are you alone?" "Just me. My party will be here soon, girl." Did he really just call me girl? A young man with light brown hair sits, looking at his phone. "That's right. Boss told me to refill the coffee mix. I should make a trip to the store. I won't be long. Should be fine." That fucking Yusun bastard is getting on my nerves. That arrogant look in his eyes. Pit. FTT. Fuck, I'm so fucking off today. Hee. Ring 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 ring. Ring 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 ring. Ring 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 ring. Student grips a pool cue looking concerned. Students play billiards, one focused on his shot. Ring 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 ring. Ring 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 ring. The phone rings relentlessly. One of the thugs barks, either pick up the damn thing or fucking shut it off. Another, looking more nervous, mutters, you little shit. Smug grin spreads across another face as he says, I don't feel like it. The ringing continues, seemingly ignored by Jimmy Bay as he relaxes. He remarks, it was already bugging me that a Yusun freak would dare to hang around here. The other thug asks, have you lost it? Suddenly, a hand snatches the ringing phone. A furious yell erupts, why you? The phone emits a loud beep. Colton Choi shouts, hey you loud-ass moron. Colton Choi holds up the phone, its screen displaying an incoming call, and demands, are you deaf? Jimmy Bay covers his face with his hand, a chilling laugh escaping him. He chuckles, I swear to God, Unjang Hai is so amusing. The thugs approach Jimmy Bay, one of them demanding, what the hell's with this guy? You waitin' on your buddies? Acting cocky, cause you have the numbers on your side? Jimmy Bay, still laughing, retorts, who do you think you are? One of the thugs tries to provoke Jimmy Bay, saying, get up, you joke. Let's talk about it, huh? Another, looking confused, starts to say, huh? His face is oddly familiar. A sharp, violent sound cuts through the air. KYK. The face of one of the thugs contorts in pain and shock. Jimmy Bay grabs one of the thugs, his voice dripping with malice. This motherfucker right here. Sounds of impact echo. Splat, splat. The other thugs react with shock. OMF, OMF, OP. A swift movement, a wish as Jimmy Bay strikes. Powerful blow lands with a wham, followed by a sickening crack as the environment around the impact shatters. The remaining thugs stare in disbelief and fear at the unfolding violence. Jimmy Bay, with a condescending smirk, tells his victim, you just have so much shit to say. Another brutal strike connects with a wham, the force evident in the surrounding debris. The impact sends shockwaves, accompanied by the sound of shattering. The remaining thugs are frozen, their faces etched with shock and terror. Jimmy Bay continues his taunt, you just have so much shit to say. Jimmy Bay addresses the remaining onlookers, and you guys, are you just gonna stand there? Sneers, shouldn't you be charging me after seeing me fucking your buddy up? You're just standing around like idiots, huh? Looks like you Unjang freaks aren't just brain dead, but terrible friends, too. Am I wrong? Yeah. One of the thugs stammers, you fucking, before another interrupts, wait, hold it. The other thug asks, what? The first one, now looking at the scene with dawning recognition, says, I just remembered. Continues, a realization hitting him, that guy's Jimmy Bay from Yusun High. The thugs whisper amongst themselves, confirming Jimmy Bay from the Delinquents Union, top dog of Yusun High. The atmosphere shifts as the reputation of Jimmy Bay becomes clear. Defeated and injured, the thugs groan, KRJ, let's get out of here. Jimmy Bay watches them retreat, a mocking laugh escaping him. Jimmy Bay leans back, a satisfied smirk on his face, finding the entire situation so amusing. Suddenly, a phone rings again, displaying an incoming call from Philip Kim. Suddenly, a phone rings. It's an incoming call from Philip Kim. Jimmy Bay answers, brow furrowed. Hey Kim, why weren't you picking up? Where are you? Did you make it to the pool place in front of the underpass? On the other end, Philip Kim replies, yeah, I'm already there. Get over here already. Yeah, I'm almost there. Philip Kim hangs up, a contemplative look on his face as he checks his phone. This guy, Philip Kim. He was the slick and clever type. The sound of tapping on a phone echoes. Jimmy Bay walks up the stairs, phone in hand. I met Donald not too late back in middle school. It cost me a lot of time breaking up the existing forces, becoming number one. A group of students approach, their faces obscured by shadow, their expressions unreadable. Jimmy Bay's gaze is intense, a shadow cast behind him. Jimmy Bay enters a billiards hall, the door creaking open. Philip Kim watches him enter, a lazy expression on his face. Philip Kim acknowledges Jimmy Bay's arrival. You made it. Jimmy Bay retorts, you should have told me when you arrived, or at least picked up the phone. Philip Kim, leaning casually on a pool cue, smirks. Oh, you know, I was preoccupied showing your Unjang friends a fun time. Jimmy Bay, now focused on a game of pool, mutters, so that's why it's empty in here, scary bastard. So you let off some steam, huh? The pool cue strikes the ball with a sharp snap. Philip Kim casually replies, anyway, the thing you were talking about. Jimmy Bay, gripping his cue, asks, are you sure it'll work? Jimmy Bay prepares to take his shot, his focus absolute. Philip Kim confidently states, "It'll work as long as you support me, right? You know who I am. I'm Philip fucking Kim." The cue strikes the ball with a powerful crack. Philip Kim continues, a calculating smile on his face. "I know you alright. You're the sucker who conquered Imdo Middle School with your mouth and money. Oh, don't get me wrong. I've got nothing to lose as long as you deliver on what you promised." Jimmy Bay, looking troubled, holds a small item, but still, "I feel like I need some upfront payment. Your plan's gonna succeed anyway, right?" Philip Kim's expression turns cold. Jimmy Bay looks weary. He'd already been calculating the best options to get into the Union. And he knew that to conquer Unjang High and get inducted into the Union, he had to beat Ben Park and surpass him. Most important thing is establishing your dominance early on, but it's looking a little shaky on that front. Well, I'm already earning commission from the Union, plus the money this motherfucker will send me. So I've got nothing to lose here, Ring alright, today we're settling this once and for all. We're having a big match today. Everyone get ready to bet. Yeah? What? His eyes widen in shock. Eugene Gale and Colton Choi face off, the tension palpable. He stares, his expression a mixture of confusion and apprehension. Thump. Look who's here. If it isn't Ben Park's minion, Alex Go. The year-old memory was a trauma to Alex Go. His eyes dart around, a flicker of fear in them. "Keep talking shit like you did earlier. I dare you." Wham, crack, drip, drip, yo. It hurts, doesn't it? Difference in power was too deep to be bridged with sheer will. "Hey Philip, don't tell me you calculated that too?" And while Alex Go was fearless, Jimmy Bay of Yusun was like an insurmountable mountain. "How would I know whether those idiots decide to show up here or not? It's called a coincidence. I can't say that I wasn't expecting this though, since those freaks are here nearly every day." "Hey, Alex, let's just go." Jimmy Bay, they're from Yusun, right? Huh? Colton Choi stands with his arms crossed, a smug look on his face. Colton Choi stands with his arms crossed, a smug look on his face, as he forcefully grabs Eugene Gale by the hair. Eugene gasps in surprise. "Huh?" Colton Choi sneers, his eyes glinting with malice. "Alex Go, you little chump. You really think you can just turn your back on me and run away?" Colton Choi yanks Eugene Gale's head back violently. Eugene cries out, "Huh?" A sinister grin spreads across a young man's face as he holds a pool cue. "There we go, just as planned." Whack, a powerful fist connects with a sickening crunch. Fear grips the faces of several students as they witness the brutal assault. One stammers, "Wait." Dean Kwan, mid-sentence, exclaims, "Bravo," before continuing. "Looked like Jimmy Bay already went a few rounds before we met. This kid is unstoppably ruthless, isn't he?" A heavy impact echoes, followed by a pained grunt. KRRFF. Colton Choi continues his brutal assault on Eugene Gale, driving a fist into his gut. As Colton Choi assaults Eugene Gale, another student, Gray Yun, intervenes, placing a hand on Colton's shoulder and pleading, "Hey, please, stop." Colton Choi turns his head, a cold, calculating look in his eyes as he considers Gray Yun's plea. Eugene Gale is violently struck, spitting out a spray of liquid. Whack! Colton Choi lands a devastating blow to Eugene Gale's groin. Crash! Eugene Gale is sent flying, hitting the wall with immense force. Colton Choi smirks, observing the scene. "Yeah, nice try, sticking up for your buddy and all. It does put a smile on my face. Kiki." Colton Choi pats the battered Eugene Gale on the head, his smug expression unwavering. "That idiot not getting the situation and acting up. It's like I'm looking at you from last year, Alex Go." A furious young man, identified as Jimmy Bay, screams, "You were so feisty and defiant then, challenging me fearlessly. What made you become such a bitch?" A flashback shows a young man, presumably Jimmy Bay, being held by the hair. He explains, "The reason that incident escalated into madness was because I couldn't control my hot-headed temper and acted foolishly." A close-up of intense eyes suggests a fierce determination. "Just this once, I'll have to take this mad dog Jimmy Bay on my own." A young man, Alex, his face smeared with blood and dirt, looks back with a pained expression. He's called out, "Alex." Dean Kwan, leaning against a pool table, remarks, "Good decision on Alex Go's part. Nobody can handle Jimmy Bay once he goes apeshit like that." A menacing face grins widely, the words "fuck yeah" emblazoned below. Pissing off Jimmy Bay means pissing off the Union. Colton Choi grabs Eugene Gale's head, sneering, "This isn't like you at all. You even hit first against Jack Hong a few days ago, right?" Eugene Gale, bloodied and bruised, looks away, his expression a mix of pain and shame. "You couldn't be because..." Colton Choi leers, his eyes half-closed in amusement. Ben, that fucker isn't by your side. Huh? Oh my, can you even call yourself a man acting like that? Whap! A shoe flies through the air, impacting with a force that shakes the ground. Colton Choi unleashes a brutal barrage of punches on Eugene Gale, the sound of impact echoing. I dare you to act up like you did that time, you pussy. Colton Choi grips Eugene Gale's hair, his expression cold. This isn't like you at all. You even hit first against Jack Hong a few days ago, right? Eugene Gale, battered and bleeding, looks down. You couldn't be because... Colton Choi sneers, his gaze sharp. Ben, that fucker isn't by your side. Huh? Oh my, can you even call yourself a man acting like that? Whap! Colton Choi sneers, his gaze sharp. Ben, that fucker isn't by your side. Huh? Oh my, can you even call yourself a man acting like that? Womp. The victim groans, blood splattering from a brutal blow. KAAH. Jimmy Bay grins, a chilling thought crossing his mind. Yo, that one really connected. Two students, Eugene Gale and another boy, rush forward, faces etched with fear. You damn bullies. Whap! Colton Choi continues his assault, grabbing one of the students by the head. Another student, Dean Kwan, rushes in. Shake, shake. Colton Choi slams the victim's head down, the force reverberating. Stand back. The other student, Eugene Gale, lets out a guttural cry of pain and frustration. KRR. Colton Choi grins menacingly. Alex, go. I see that you're clearly too scared to even move. Kiki. But that won't change a thing. Colton Choi continues, his voice dripping with malice. Cause I'm gonna hunt down Ben Park and crush him, too, soon after this. Colton Choi confronts Eugene Gale, who looks utterly defeated. Oh my god, was it your plan all along to just shut up and take it so things wouldn't escalate? Colton Choi laughs, a cruel sound. Too bad all that beating was for nothing. The victim's face is a mask of pain and humiliation, bloodied and bruised. A quiet moment in what appears to be a hallway or common area. Colton Choi pins the struggling student down, holding a smartphone in front of his face. Tick, tick, tick. Colton Choi mutters, his eyes fixed on something unseen. Philip. Jimmy Bay looks bewildered, a question mark hovering above his head. Colton Choi, still holding the student, speaks into his phone. Check your phone. Shake, shake. Colton Choi checks his own phone, a smug smile playing on his lips. Ding. Jimmy Bay looks at his phone, a hint of annoyance on his face. Phone screen shows a message from Jimmy Bay. This money-hungry fucker. Colton Choi grabs the student's head forcefully. At any rate, Colton Choi continues to manhandle the victim. I don't really trust you to tell Ben about what I did. Bam! Colton Choi delivers a devastating blow, sending the student crashing to the ground. RRK. Colton Choi looms over his defeated opponent, but he'll sure as hell be pissed when he sees his minion's face all messed up. Ain't that right? The other two students, Eugene Gale and Dean Kwan, react with alarm. Hey, we really need to stop that. Whap! Jimmy Bay glares, his patience wearing thin. What do you think you shitheads are doing? Siske. The victim's phone rings incessantly as he lies on the ground, utterly broken. Ring, 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 ring. Colton Choi answers the call, his expression unreadable. It's me. Colton Choi answers the call, his expression unreadable. It's me. The recipient of the call reacts with shock. Donald Na himself? Colton Choi continues the conversation. Alright, let Jack know about this too. I'll be there as well, right away. Suddenly, Colton Choi lashes out, yelling God damn it, as he shoves another student who cries out in pain. Colton Choi, holding his phone, looks down with a grim expression. The sky has saved you today, Alex. He continues, his voice laced with a threat, but we'll meet again soon enough, and tell Ben Park all about it. The other student, visibly distressed and sweating, is captured in a close-up. Colton Choi's eyes narrow with cold intent, that I'll be coming for him soon. The evening sky is settling over a quiet residential street. Crickets chirp. A lone student, Gray Yun, walks down the street, the sound of his footsteps echoing. The imposing facade of Unjang High School looms against the twilight sky. Phone buzzes, displaying the time, 6:45. Gray Yun, looking at his phone, approaches the school entrance. A door creaks open, revealing a figure inside, the sound of a phone ringing echoing. Figure, Gray Yun, stands pensively, his gaze distant. Gray Yun enters an empty classroom, the rows of desks silent. A student with striking blonde hair grins sinisterly. Another student, with dark hair and a distressed expression, is shown up close, sweat beading on his forehead. Gray Yun begins to sweep the classroom floor. I sort out those thoughts in this empty classroom. Continues cleaning, gathering the debris. He said his name was Teddy Jean. Gray Yun uses a whiteboard eraser. The best thing would be to not get tied up with his business. He holds up the eraser, deep in thought. But from my experience and hunch, Two students, one with blonde hair, look on with menacing smiles. It doesn't look like I'll get off that easily without anything happening. Gray-Yun fiddles with the curtains by the window. Also, before any of that, peeks through the curtains, his expression hardening. His internal monologue continues, my rage won't subside that easily either. A close-up on Gray-Yun's intense, determined eye. The sound of someone panting can be heard as they ascend a staircase. Jean Gale, out of breath, exclaims, this kid comes to school way too early, making me worried and shit. Looking at his backpack, Eugene Gale resolves, I should get there before him today. Eugene Gale is startled, muttering, huh? He approaches the classroom door, wondering aloud, someone from class 10 is already here too? It looked like someone was here. Is he on duty too? Eugene Gale cautiously peeks through the door, his eyes wide with alarm. He recoils in shock, letting out a startled EK as a guttural groan echoes from within. Inside, Gray-Yun lies sprawled on a bench, letting out a pained groan. Eugene Gale stares, bewildered. What the heck? It's Gerard Jean. Damn jump scare. What is he, a zombie? Those are some long-ass legs. Eugene Gale observes Gray-Yun, who is seemingly asleep on the bench, mumbling, weirdo. Suddenly snapping out of his daze, Eugene Gale exclaims, oh shit, I shouldn't be here wasting time. He hesitates at the doorway, lost in thought. In the classroom, Gray-Yun is diligently cleaning, the sound of his work echoing. Eugene Gale observes he's already here, and he's already finished cleaning. Eugene Gale approaches Gray-Yun, explaining, I came a little earlier than I usually do when I'm on duty, so I'm sorry, I'll be here even earlier tomorrow. Gray-Yun looks up, his expression serious, saying, just finish what you were telling me last time. Eugene Gale, surprised by the directness, replies, oh, about Teddy Jean, right to the point, huh? The narration explains, he was an infamous maniac at Song-Il Middle School. He beat a teacher during a bag check for apparently dirtying his backpack. Narration continues, he did even crazier stuff after getting suspended for it. The narration states, he doesn't seem to be affiliated in any gangs though. He seems to only hang out with his friend Chad Jang that he goes everywhere with. The narration describes their methods. They slowly bully them into submission, driving them into the worst situations. The narration elaborates on their cruelty, like, they're the type that get pleasure out of the act. I wouldn't move like that. I might just rip your ear off. Narration reveals Teddy Jin's impact. There's a sizable bunch of Song-Il Middle School students who transferred or altogether quit school because of Teddy Jin. The guy's on a different level than Colton Choi or Evan Yu. A moment of silence hangs in the air. Silence. Eugene Gale and Gray-Yun sit at their desks, the atmosphere tense. Eugene Gale breaks the silence, asking, you mind if I ask you something, too? Gray-Yun calmly replies, go ahead. Eugene Gale looks at Gray-Yun, his expression filled with curiosity, asking, you always come to school so early, even when you're not on duty. Why do you do that? Gray-Yun looks away, his expression unreadable. Gray-Yun gestures to the books on his desk, asking, study ahead? Eugene Gale looks at the pile of study books on Gray-Yun's desk. Camera focuses on the books, specifically an epic English practice textbook and a 10th grade math advanced practice case. Gray-Yun taps a page in a textbook, explaining, this right here is what gives me an edge. A menacing figure, possibly Colton Choi, appears under the starry night sky, a sinister grin on his face. The figure's shadow looms large, obscuring the view. The figure's shadow looms large, obscuring the view. A soft sigh escapes his lips as he looks out at the dawn. He holds up a small, almost empty pack. It's the last one, he murmurs, a hint of resignation in his voice. A close-up on a face lost in thought. The expression is unreadable, a mix of weariness and contemplation. His internal monologue surfaces, I should quit this crap, so damn expensive. With a decisive motion, the pack is crumpled and tossed into a nearby bin. A sea of students stands assembled in the courtyard, a formal address beginning. In the spirit of a new beginning, we will focus on our academics. The speaker's words echo across the disciplined ranks. Speech continues from a raised platform. And receive the energy of Mount Guanak. A banner below proclaims, let us all lead happy, selfless lives. A sudden, guttural cry erupts. HOA. The raw sound is jarring, a stark contrast to the preceding ceremony. Amidst the crowd, a young man with striking blonde hair sighs, his eyes blinking slowly. Fucking hell, I might just die of boredom. Another voice chimes in, questioning the prolonged speeches. How can you even go on about arbitrary bullshit for over 30 minutes? Speaker on the podium coughs, continuing his address despite the interruption. Har, and moving on to my next point. Har. A student nervously interjects, excuse me, sir. It's almost time for classes to begin. The speaker pauses, a hint of surprise. Har, already? The morning announcements conclude. Har har. Then that will be it for today's morning announcements. A clear directive follows. You are dismissed to go to your classes. As the students disperse, murmurs of discontent spread. I thought my legs were gonna fall off. He really went on for 30 full minutes. The old fart must have lost it. The crowd begins to move towards the school buildings. Students, classes are starting right away, so go straight to your classrooms. One student grumbles, God damn it, can't we catch a break after suffering through the principal's never-ending sermon? A thought appears, annoying student reform counselor. Student walks towards a glass door, holding a certificate. The sound of the door opening is indicated by brittle. Suddenly, a struggle breaks out. A sharp cry of HYAA is followed by the sound of a clench. The blonde-haired student, Teddy Jean, grabs another student, while a third watches with a grimace. Teddy Jean confronts the struggling student, his face contorted in a sneer. You shitty drone. The principal spewed us bullshit for half an hour because of you. The victim cries out, how the heck is that my fault? Accompanied by a sickening crunch. With a sharp pop, Teddy Jean produces a cigarette butt from his mouth. He grins menacingly, holding it towards the victim. This is your punishment for the old man's sermon. Teddy Jean forces the cigarette butt into the struggling student's ear, mimicking a haircut. There he is, Elvis Presley in the flesh. Free sideburns for you, sir. The victim cries out in pain. BWA. The scene unfolds on the stairs, attracting the attention of other students. Now that's a good looking right there, one comments. Another student, witnessing the event, asks, could you at least do it somewhere without other students? While another laments, I feel so humiliated. A bystander asks, what are they doing? And another dismissively replies, like I care, must be class 1's punching bag. A close-up on Teddy Jin's eye, a glint of amusement in his purple iris. Oh, he questions, a predatory smile forming. From a low angle, the back of Teddy Jin's head is visible as other students walk up the stairs. The focus is on the ongoing events unfolding. A profile shot of a young man, his expression serious and distant. He seems lost in his own thoughts, detached from the unfolding chaos. Teddy Jean addresses someone, my drone. A voice responds, I have your first mission. The command is given, Elvis mode, activate. A wish sound effect indicates rapid movement. Teddy Jean forces the struggling student to look at another individual. You see that dickhead over there? He sneers. That puss boy who's said to be the top dog of class 5. Teddy Jean hands a marker to the struggling student. You will take this holy marker, he commands, and draw him a nice big X on his back and return. Go! Teddy Jin's intense gaze pierces the frame. I want each stroke to be at least 10 inches each. If you don't make the length requirement, I'll take that as mission failure, he threatens, and you'll be sentenced to a fiery beating. Struggling student, clearly terrified, protests, but I don't even know that kid that well. His fear is palpable as he's held captive. A sudden, brutal crunch echoes as the student is violently grabbed. He cries out in agony, H. Teddy Jean grins wickedly, squeezing the student's ear. Oh, is that right? You don't know him well. His voice drips with menace. Then do you want to take a trip to the incinerator with me? Instead, the victim whimpers, KRRRGH. Cornered and terrified, the student finally relents. Hey, I'll do it. In the background, Teddy Jean is engulfed in flames, holding a marker, a chilling smile on his face. On all fours, this'll be a little hot, he says. Mission is underway. A powerful fist connects with a sickening crack. The victim's face is contorted in pain, teeth grinding. Quit stalling and get that shit done already, unless you really want me to kill you. Okay, dash. He could actually kill me, 'cause that freak Teddy Jean is a real psycho. Why did I have to end up in the same class as him? Tremble. Sweep. Tremble. Sweep? A marker? Grab. What do you think you're doing on my back? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What's wrong with this kid? His nose is... What class are you from? C class 1. Is Teddy Jean. Swish. I despise that son of a bitch Teddy Jean. That doesn't mean I don't hate this fucker either. Squeeze. I had no other choice. What? You had no other choice? I had no other choice too. Grit. Whap. Not even worth talking to. What am I supposed to do? That freak is an insane sadist. Lynch. That lets you do despicable things to a stranger's back. In a pathetic attempt to preserve your body from pain? You fucking lowlife. If you're gonna run away, carry that weight yourself. Don't rope other people into your shit. Delusional lowlifes who think their situation will improve if they just follow the orders of their oppressors without even trying to fight back. Not a single thing will change. Flap. Hallway sign indicates classroom 1 to 8. A text message conversation on a phone screen. What's with this dude? Hey, you see Alex today? He's ignoring my texts and he's nowhere to be seen. Wasn't he with you yesterday? You guys went to play pool, right? Was everything okay? Don't tell anything to Ben. He'd go apes hit and try to set out to crush you, son. Yeah, we split pretty early. This is a tough position. What's going on? Is he going through another phase like back in middle school when he wanted to go see the ocean all alone? Don't look for me. Should have gone straight home after school like a good student. Is he mad at me because I left him for my feast of ribs yesterday? Booyah! Coming to your senses now? That's why you should have just stayed in your lane, fool. If you just did that, none of this would have happened. His face is flushed and he's bleeding from the nose. Those who lost their will to fight can't even think about measuring their strength against a new opponent. Idiot. Whack. Just by shoving your fist into a fallen competitor's face. Look at your noggin bouncing around like a bobblehead. This is the perfect time to establish your dominance. We're still on for tonight, right? Yup. A silhouette is visible through a window on an upper floor. Two figures are seen through a window. Clench. Teddy Jean, Philip Kim. Street scene with a green bus and an orange car. This is just like the real deal pick-me-up. Looks like we're done with cleaning our designated areas, too, and homeroom said we could go. As students begin to leave Unjang High School, one student walks with a determined stride, carrying a bag, while another follows with a more hesitant demeanor. A close-up on a hand tightly gripping a white shirt, revealing the struggle to remove something from it. Jean Gale's eyes widen in concern as he realizes the difficulty of removing the markings from the shirt. Eugene Gale looks away, a troubled expression on his face as he contemplates the situation. A student, with his back to the camera, observes a sign that reads "Drugstore on Drugs." He seems to be recalling some past experience. As the sun sets, casting a warm glow over the city, a voice calls out, "Hey, Gray!" Gray Yun stands calmly, observing another student who is hunched over, seemingly out of breath. A hand clutches a plastic bag, the words "The Real Deal Pick-Me-Up" visible on it. The bag rustles. Eugene Gale explains to Gray Yun that the marker won't wash out with just laundry detergent, holding up the bag of products. Eugene Gale, now covered in writing from his new shirt, is being taunted by two shadowy figures. He cries out, "My brand new shirt, we're making it cooler." Eugene Gale, terrified, apologizes, claiming he isn't saying Gray Yun is like him, while droplets of water or sweat appear around him. Eugene Gale assures Gray Yun that the two products should wash out the markings nicely and promises to come early tomorrow. He then rushes off. Bag of products is shown again, the contents slightly blurred but the "Real Deal Pick-Me-Up" label still visible. A close-up on Gray Yun's eyes, which hold a determined, almost cold, expression. A tight shot focuses on Gray Yun's face, his expression unreadable. The camera pans over a busy street market filled with stalls and a crowd of people. A bus is visible. A tranquil sunset paints the sky with vibrant colors, the roof of a house silhouetted against the horizon. Finger presses a doorbell, the sound bing-bong echoing. A student with a red backpack stands before a closed gate, wondering if someone is home. A face appears on an intercom screen, looking panicked as someone calls out, "Hey, Alex, are you there?" A student, his face bandaged, thinks to himself, "I just need to ghost him until my face gets sorted out, 'cause I know how this idiot will react." Someone calls out to Alex, asking if he's going through his itchy feet phase again. Student with a red backpack walks down a street lost in thought. He seems bored without a certain idiot. The text "the next day" appears, indicating a shift in time. A pair of feet stand on a sticky, spilled substance on the hallway floor. A teacher or authority figure shouts from a doorway, ordering students from Class 4 and Class 5 to get out and mop the hallway and stairs. Eugene Gale, looking anxious, admits he didn't finish yesterday's homework. Gray Yun looks away with a serious, almost bored expression. Gray Yun agrees to do it, while Eugene Gale, looking relieved and surprised, thanks him. Eugene Gale, clutching a mop and bucket, walks through a doorway as morning light streams in. The long, empty school hallway stretches out, a silent testament to the start of another day. On the stairs, Philip Kim sips from a can while Colton Choi stands beside him, a smug grin already forming. Philip Kim, holding his drink, smirks and says, "Let's go." Classroom door displays the number 1 to 5. Inside the classroom, Eugene Gale looks distressed, muttering, "This is bad." He's clearly uneasy as Philip Kim and Colton Choi stand over him. Philip Kim thinks, "And just when Gray isn't beside me." Colton Choi holds up a dark purple bag, asking, "This is that freak's bag, right?" Jean Gale, terrified, clutches the bag tighter as Colton Choi looms over him. Teddy Jin's cold, calculating gaze is revealed. He scoffs, thinking, ha! Teddy Jean, looking down at someone, sneers, I get it, since the number one of this class is such a bitch boy, even this walking embodiment of a loser here thinks he can talk to me. Oh right, you're not even number one anymore. A close-up shows a man's face contorted in a pathetic, almost broken expression. The text reads, ha! Just look at his deflated, sad fucking existence. Hee hee hee. Jean Gale desperately holds onto the bag, pleading with Philip Kim, You should reconsider. Philip Kim remains silent, his expression unreadable. Colton Choi laughs, HAA, as Philip Kim says, Here comes the airplane. A powerful punch lands with a deafening crack directly to the face. Colton Choi smirks, Look at this dude, he's still hanging on. Inside the bag, Eugene Gale groans, GRRGH, RRRRR. Trembling, he tries to hold on. Colton Choi delivers another brutal blow, whap, the sound of crack echoes. Teddy Jin's smug expression returns. The beaten Gray Yun groans, RRAH. Colton Choi, holding the bag, laughs, heh. He says, This bag is just screaming loser at me, dude. On the stairs, Philip Kim boasts, I've been practicing my knuckle free kick lately. Colton Choi replies, Yeah, like you're gonna put a spin on the bag anyway, heh. Below, Eugene Gale diligently mops the floor. A close-up of the bucket Eugene Gale is using. Philip Kim walks down the hall, saying, Check out my perfect mailman cross. Philip Kim makes a HO sound, preparing his move. Foot lands with a sharp T. Philip Kim executes a powerful kick, sending a shockwave across the floor. A shadow of a head is cast against the wall with a POW. Eugene Gale is startled as water splashes everywhere, his mop clattering. He exclaims, EK. Blows up on the struggle as someone is grabbed. Philip Kim, mid-action, shouts HO. Colton Choi reacts with a surprised darn. From above, Colton Choi comments on Eugene Gale's work, Not too shabby, man. Philip Kim asks, You peep that shit? Close-up of a student's face, looking dejected. He thinks, It's all wet. Bullies. Whose bag is this? A lone student walks down a school hallway, the sound of his mop echoing with each step. He stops, noticing another student by the stairs. What is that about? Scattered papers lie on the floor, a stark contrast to the otherwise clean hallway. The first student, Colton Choi, stares intently. Did you do this? The student by the stairs, Eugene Gale, panics. What? No. It wasn't me. Those guys up there. A sharp, piercing gaze from Gray Yun. Two other students appear at the top of the stairs. One calls out, Oh. Eugene Gale points towards the two students, his face a mask of fear. Inside a classroom, a student peeks out, his thoughts racing. Swole up, forget my homework. What am I gonna do about Gray's backpack? A soft, troubled utterance. Oh. Student who was mopping sees Gray Yun. He's over there. The blonde-haired student from the stairs confronts Gray Yun. What, got a problem? Spit it out, puss boy. Gray Yun remains impassive, his gaze steady. The blonde student's eyes narrow with anger. I already told you that I'd kill you if you got on my nerves. Gray Yun's expression is unreadable, a hint of a storm brewing within. He holds up a bag, a clear challenge. I haven't even gotten started yet. What's wrong? You want to go right now? A sinister smile spreads across the blonde student's face. If that's the case, go ahead and bring your ass up here, bitch. Gray Yun begins to ascend the stairs, his grip tight on the mop. Holds up a bag, a clear challenge. I haven't even gotten started yet. What's wrong? You want to go right now? A sinister smile spreads across the blonde student's face. If that's the case, go ahead and bring your ass up here, bitch. Gray Yun continues his ascent, his expression hardening. A cold, calculating look from Gray Yun. Blonde student Teddy Jean grins menacingly. A student with glasses, Eugene Gale, looks distressed. I did see this calculated bullying continuing ever since Philip Kim got tangled in this, but knowing Philip Kim's personality, Teddy Jean seems to be another piece of his scheme. A tense standoff between students. Eugene Gale thinks, it's like every day is moments away from a shitstorm. I'd be scared so shitless. I wouldn't make it through a single day like this. Heavy thudding sound. The words beat fear and rage pile inside of me appear. A heavy thudding sound. The words beat fear and rage pile inside of me appear. Tat. A heavy foot slams down onto the tiled floor, kicking up dust. Tat, tat, tat. Gray Yun charges up the stairs, a whirlwind of motion. He's clearly on the offensive. Whoosh! Colton Choi unleashes a powerful blow, a spray of debris erupting from the impact zone. Jimmy Bay braces himself, his eyes narrowing with intense focus as he prepares for the next move. Cuff. Gray Yun takes a brutal hit, his expression contorted in pain and defiance. Brutal kick connects with Gray Yun, sending him reeling. The force of the impact is palpable. Colton Choi flashes a wide, unsettling grin, his eyes glinting with malice. Gray Yun's eyes widen in shock and disbelief, his mouth agape as he struggles to comprehend the situation. Stumbling back, Gray Yun throws his hands up, his expression a mixture of fear and desperation. Gray Yun continues to stumble down the stairs, his arms flailing as he tries to regain his balance. Scene blurs as Gray Yun continues his descent. Thump, thump, Gray Yun lands heavily, his gaze fixed on something off-panel. Thump, thump, the scene pans up to reveal Colton Choi and another student watching Gray Yun from the top of the stairs. Internal monologue. What I'd like to do is run up there right now and crush that arrogant face of his. The words are accompanied by a visual of a hand clenching. The internal struggle continues, a hand shown gripping tightly. Internal monologue. If I choose to act now, I'd be at a disadvantage, both positionally and psychologically. Gray Yun's determined gaze is fixed forward. Internal monologue. It's reckless to charge at an enemy that's already ready and in position, whether consciously or subconsciously. Teddy Jean watches from the stairs, a sly smile playing on his lips. Internal monologue. Teddy Jean is aware of this and baiting me. Internal monologue. It's needless for me to get wrapped up in Jin's plan. Internal monologue continues, and initiate a disadvantageous fight. Gray Yun stands at the bottom of the stairs, broom in hand. Internal monologue. The choice must be made upon hard reason exclusively, without any petty emotions considered. Gray Yun looks down, deep in thought. This isn't the right time. Gray Yun turns away, the weight of his decision evident. Tap, tap. Down below, Colton Choi and Teddy Jean watch Gray Yun. Colton sneers. Huh? Would you look at that? He's pussing out, scared shitless. Teddy Jean chuckles. He must have used his head. Probably figured he'd be embarrassed and beaten to a pulp. Well, that was boring. Let's hit the roof for some smokes. Heh. Teddy Jean suggests to Colton Choi. Hee, you got it. Colton Choi agrees with a grin. Eugene Gale approaches Gray Yun. You made the right choice to keep it in, Gray. I'll take care of all this. Sorry about your backpack, Eugene Gale says, looking downcast and slightly injured. I should have stopped them from taking it to the end. Eugene Gale continues, his voice filled with regret. Eugene Gale, his voice filled with regret, says, I should have stopped them from taking it to the end. As he speaks, Colton Choi walks away, the sound of his footsteps echoing down the hallway. Eugene watches him go, a look of deep despair on his face. Eugene Gale's eyes widen behind his glasses as a thought crosses his mind. The marker, it came out clean. He mutters, a flicker of confusion mixed with his regret. A blush creeps onto Eugene Gale's face as he realizes something profound. This is the first time Gray has called me by my name. He whispers, the words feeling strange and new on his tongue. Feels odd. Colton Choi continues his walk down the empty hallway, the rhythmic tap of his shoes the only sound breaking the silence. The corridor stretches out before him, an endless path. Back of Colton Choi's head is shown as he walks away, the world behind him a blur of fiery orange and scattered sparks. A sense of impending doom or intense emotion hangs in the air. A dark bag, possibly a duffel bag, is shown from above. Inside, 3 distinct shapes are visible, their textures suggesting they might be shoes or some kind of padded items. The bag has a thick, curved strap. A close-up on Colton Choi's face reveals a cold, impassive stare. His eyes are narrowed, and his expression is unreadable, hinting at a deep, perhaps unsettling, resolve. Teddy Jean, with his distinctive blonde hair, recoils in shock, his hand flying to his forehead in a salute. His eyes are wide with surprise and alarm, as if he's just spotted something he wasn't expecting. Behind him, a man with a stern expression looks on. Teddy Jean, with a mischievous grin, pulls back a rubber band stretched between his fingers, aiming it down the hallway. Colton Choi walks ahead, oblivious to the impending projectile. The rubber band snaps forward with a sharp snap, a small, star-like burst indicating its impact. Colton Choi flinches slightly, his expression shifting from impassive to one of mild annoyance or surprise. A foot clad in a white sneaker lands with a forceful whoop sound effect, crushing something red and white on the ground. The impact is heavy and decisive. Colton Choi is violently kicked through a glass door, the sound of impact echoing as whomp. He's propelled forward, his body akimbo, while Teddy Jean grins triumphantly. Another figure stands by, watching. Teddy Jean taunts Colton Choi, who is now on the ground. What do you think you're doing messing around in my field of vision like that? He sneers. Eugene Gale, observing from a distance, adds his own cruel remark. Looks like you lost your balls since last time, huh? All he needed was some good old-fashioned discipline. Heh. A close-up on Colton Choi's face shows him looking down, his expression unreadable. The surrounding environment is blurred, with small white specks floating around, suggesting a moment of quiet reflection or perhaps defeat. Eugene Gale, his face etched with concern and disbelief, stares ahead. He observes the scene with wide eyes, processing the events unfolding. Gray wasn't retaliating at all with all Teddy was doing to him, he thinks, a knot of worry tightening in his stomach. Eugene Gale's gaze is fixed on the classroom scene. He recalls a past moment, a burning curiosity. One day, I got so curious that I decided to ask him myself, he narrates internally. The question that plagued him is revealed. Why was he letting Teddy Jean get away with all this? The interior of a classroom is shown from a high angle. Desks are neatly arranged, some with books and bags. 2 students are seated at a desk in the foreground, while others are visible in the background. The atmosphere is calm and studious. Close-up on a desk reveals an open notebook filled with handwritten notes, highlighted in red and green. A pencil rests on the page, alongside a small notepad and an eraser. The scene suggests diligent study. Rain lashes against a window, the sound of slosh filling the air. A curtain, tied back with a simple cord, partially obscures the view of the downpour outside. The scene is melancholic and subdued. Eugene Gale and Colton Choi stand side by side, looking out the rain-streaked window. The narration states, "And then, that day came. The somber atmosphere of the rain outside mirrors the mood of the characters." Eugene Gale speaks, his voice slightly strained. "I was working so hard during the week." He looks towards Colton Choi, who is engrossed in his phone, seemingly unfazed by Eugene's words. Other students are in the background. A wide grin spreads across Teddy Jin's face as he looks at Eugene Gale. His expression is almost gleeful, a stark contrast to Eugene's worried look. Though he probably struggled harder with something else. Teddy muses, a hint of malice in his tone. Scene shifts to a classroom. Eugene Gale stands up from his desk, a casual offer on his lips. "I'm headed to the snack bar. You want something?" As he turns, Colton Choi, who was sitting at another desk, makes a comment. "Oh, that's right. You never really get stuff from there." A box of text indicates an automatic comment from a former snack shuttle. Eugene Gale's request hangs in the air. Colton Choi, looking surprised, asks, "Huh?" As Eugene simply states, "Coke." Eugene Gale looks directly at the viewer, his expression serious and determined. He states his request clearly, "Get me a Coke." Rain continues to pour down, creating a somber atmosphere as it streaks across the windows of a large building. The dark, cloudy sky suggests a heavy downpour. Teddy Jean looks up, a sinister smile playing on his lips. His eyes are narrowed, and a menacing aura surrounds him, hinting at a dark intention. A close-up shows the underside of a school desk. A simple hook is attached to the frame, and a few small, white objects are scattered on the floor beneath it. A man, possibly a student, looks around with a panicked expression. Another student, Teddy Jean, stands beside him, his face a mask of confusion. The first man asks, "Where's my bag?" Student, his face contorted in a desperate shout, explains the situation. A guy from class 5 took it, saying you asked him to bring it to you. The implication is that the bag was taken without permission. What kind of bullshit is that, you dumb fuck? Class 5? Who? You know, the little, pretty-looking one. I really thought that you were the one that told him to. Colton Choi, his expression hardening, watches as Eugene Gale stands there holding a backpack. That fucking loser. Does he even know what kind of bag that is? TAT. Boom. The sound of heavy impact echoes as feet slam onto the ground. You're way out of line, you fucker. I'll kill you. Sign indicates 1 to 5, likely a classroom number. DRR. Wham! The sound of a struggle or impact. Eugene Gale is seen recoiling, his expression one of shock and fear, as if pushed or hit. Wipe. A hand is seen erasing a blackboard, revealing faint text underneath. Gray Yun is seen by the window, looking out at the rain while erasing the blackboard. What's going on? Murmur. It's Teddy Jean. You. Slosh. Pitter-patter. Rain is heard hitting a surface, and a dark backpack is visible, seemingly wet. Slosh. 2 figures are seen through a rain-streaked window, one standing outside, the other inside. A backpack rests on the windowsill. You've finally lost it, haven't you? You little shitbag. Grit. SK Slosh. Gray Yun holds a wet backpack, water dripping from it. Drip, drip. Water continues to drip from the soaked backpack. Here for your bag? Slosh. The scene repeats with the figures outside and inside the building, the rain falling, and the backpack on the windowsill. You've finally lost it, haven't you? You little shitbag. Grit. SK Slosh. Gray Yun holds the wet backpack, water dripping. Drip, drip. The water continues to fall from the backpack. You here for your bag? You're messing with that? Do you even know how much it costs? SK slosh. Gray Yun continues to hold the dripping backpack. Yeah. But it was getting dirty. I thought I'd wash it just for you. That prick might drop it. Get down there and be ready to catch it. You know it's raining, right? The fuck? You think I'm your minion? Just get your ass down there. Now. Huh? Yeah, okay. I should have switched lanes over to Philip Kim's side when I had the chance. Tat. Rain must have got to your head. But come to think of it, you've never gotten a proper beating from me, have you? Sasuke rush. Grit. Sasuke. Little fucking scumbag, if you even dare. All this over a backpack. The same guy that beat his teacher for dirtying his bag. He cares so dearly about his belongings, but thinks of everyone else as nothing more than garbage. Reason he's doing everything he can to please Philip Kim. Colton Choi struts with his backpack, radiating a menacing aura. Whether it be for Philip Kim or his bag, in the end, Teddy Jean is nothing more than a delusional high school brat. Colton Choi's eyes widen in a mix of fear and determination. Whoosh. You've done it now, you piece of shit. My bag. Eek. Even Teddy Jean, who had experience when it came to fights, who started them by taunting his opponent, by shaking them up mentally, won't be nearly as familiar with the same being done to him. Everything is ultimately a game of odds, anyway. Poof. Cough cough. H-Sicho. K cough cough cough. And fluff fluff. Snatch. Eek. Like coke, don't you? Cough cough. Murmur, murmur. The students are whispering amongst themselves, their eyes darting around the classroom. You sneaky bitch. A cold, determined gaze pierces through the frame, hinting at a brewing storm. Squeak. Whom. A swift blow connects, the sound echoing as a struggle begins. Eek. Clench. Cra. The fabric tears as the fight intensifies. Loop. The struggle turns into a chaotic entanglement. GRUG. MMPH. WH. What is that? Squeeze. GRRG. Get these off me. Cuff. Sasuke. Rap. Tuck. You fucking. The struggle intensifies, desperation etched on Gray Yun's face. Who? Pow. A sudden impact as a can is brought into the fray. Can is swung with force, adding a new, brutal element to the fight. Bam bam bam. Hock. Clank. The can hits the ground, its contents spilling. Sweat beads on Gray Yun's forehead as he grits his teeth, caught in a relentless struggle. The scene focuses on the empty space between desks, hinting at the chaos that has unfolded. Clunk. The fight continues, a brutal dance of grappling and impact. WIP. A foot slams down, kicking a chair with violent force. ADA. Colton Choi violently yanks a struggling student, dragging him across the classroom. Tap. Another brutal stomp connects, the force radiating outwards. Shoo. The struggle intensifies as Colton Choi continues his assault, the victim engulfed by a flurry of motion. A devastating blow lands, the impact shaking the very air. Shoo. A chilling close-up of an eye burning with cold fury, promising further violence. Crack. Colton Choi's brutal assault continues, driving the victim down with a sickening impact. Classroom full of students stares in stunned silence, their faces a mixture of shock and fear. One student gasps. Crew. The sounds of struggle and defeat echo as the victim collapses. System box. In order to face a demon like Teddy Jean, I must become an even crueler demon myself. The speaker's face is etched with grim determination. Cuff, cuff. Colton Choi continues to manhandle the other student, dragging him along the wall. Pop. A small device is activated, a spray of liquid erupting from it. System box. For idiots who put too much trust into big names, Yusen's helmet, a chillingly calm voice states. System box. I'll get to their heads with those names. Got his head cracked after acting out like you. The spray continues, coating the victim. Tap, tap. The sounds of the spray hitting the target. Tap, drip, drip. The spray coats the victim's clothes as he mutters, "Fucking hell." Tap, tap. A student, soaked from the rain and carrying a bag, walks through a doorway. He mutters, "I got all wet out there in this damn rain." Teddy Jean is just too much when he goes crazy like that. Another student, visibly distressed and crying, calls out, Teddy, your bag." A close-up on the crying student's face, his eyes wide with disbelief and fear. The back of a student's shirt marked with an X from the spray. A student is being pulled through a window, their head completely covered by a blanket. The other student watches, a hint of concern on his face. Scene shifts to a lower angle, showing the victim being dragged and the other student's shoes. A close-up of a student's face, sweat beading on his brow, his expression a mixture of exertion and unease. The crying student's face again, tears streaming down his cheeks, his eyes wide with shock. Back of the student's shirt showing the X mark. Slosh, the student being dragged through the window struggles as the other student holds onto the blanket. Another close-up of the student's face, his expression one of dazed confusion and distress. The crying student looks out, bewildered, asking, "What happened here?" The student trapped behind the curtain thinks, "The Teddy Jean I know isn't the one to lose that easily." Crying student's face contorts in shock and disbelief as he exclaims, "How did he end up completely destroyed like that? What the hell is this?" His belief in the Yongdongpo Delinquents Union and Philip Kim wavered. The physical trauma had indeed paralyzed him, leaving him in a broken state symbolized by the crushed soda can. But the news that the Union's helmet was defeated by Gray Yun instilled anxiety and fear in Teddy Jean. "I should have been a brick wall that even Philip Kim couldn't dare attempt to climb over." Jimmy Bay stood alone, contemplating the messy situation. "How the hell am I supposed to wrap up this situation?" he wondered. Philip Kim looked up, uttering a single word, "You." Dean Kwan was also flustered by the shocking scene unfolding before him as Chad Jiang was being subdued. Gray Yun's intense gaze fixed on the scene. "Take this idiot and get out of here," he commanded. A hand reached out, the watch on the wrist glinting. Sounds of struggle intensified as Teddy Jean coughed and choked, caught in a violent hold. With a forceful snatch, Gray Yun grabbed Teddy Jean by the hair, pulling him down. Gray Yun delivered a swift whip-like strike, sending Teddy Jean reeling. Teddy Jean slid across the floor, completely defeated, as Jimmy Bay watched with a stunned expression. Jimmy Bay approached the fallen Teddy Jean. "Hey, you alright, man?" he asked, concern etched on his face. Supporting the dazed Teddy Jean, Jimmy Bay urged, Let's just get the hell out of here first." As they retreated, the students in the classroom whispered in fear, "He's a demon." Teddy Jean, a guy who derives his energy from narcissism, had completely lost his will to fight. The students' fear was palpable. "He is indeed a demon," they thought, observing Gray Yun. Gray Yun slammed the door shut, the sound echoing through the hallway. His expression was unreadable as he turned away. A moment of quiet contemplation passed. Back in the classroom, the students observed the scene. Like always, one of them thought, referring to Gray Yun. The board read, "Monday is a rainy day." Gray Yun stood before the class. "Never loses," the students murmured. Jean Gale looked on, stunned by the events. Gray Yun's presence seemed to intimidate everyone in the classroom. Teddy Jin's face contorted in a manic grin. "The crazier the opponent is like Teddy Jean, the more necessary it is to force them to the edge," he thought. Gray Yun continued to grapple with Teddy Jean, his eyes burning with intensity. "To the point that they'll piss themselves at the mere look of my eyes," Gray Yun declared, his gaze unwavering. Eugene Gale, still shaken, called out to Gray Yun, "Gray." Eugene Gale's eyes widened behind his glasses. "I saw it," he confirmed. He was hiding it. Behind the ruthless and terrifying side he showed, though he tried to keep a straight face. "I saw his two hands, shaking, tremble." Compared to Gray Yun, who went face to face with his harsh reality. "I always lived in fear without trying to better my situation. And that realization made me feel so pathetic. Come on, I'm running out of excuses to throw at Ben. When are you gonna start coming to school again, Alex?" Judging by how quiet it's been, doesn't it look like Jimmy Bay just decided to pass up? Fine. I was gonna go again starting next week anyway." "What about all your wounds? Did they heal up yet? You think you can hide all that?" "I'll think of an alibi. They've almost healed up anyway." "BZZZ. Eat this idiot." Got a call from Ben. "I'ma take this." Pita-pata. Beep. "Hello? Oh shit." Alex picked up. "Dude, where are you and what are you doing?" "I swear you'll be the death of my hearing. Something came up, so I had to make a trip somewhere." "Something came up my ass. Are you going through another phase? Do you have any idea how many times I called you?" "Huh? This asshole really just hung up on me." Stupid Alex. This kid did always have a shy side. Bright. Ben has simply become happy. Beautiful weather today. So he'll be at school starting. It sounded kinda serious according to what I've been hearing. "Yeah, back at the pool hall." Alex Go was, "Yep, you son hi. Shouldn't be too big a deal. I don't have the time to care about anyone else's business." Picho. Gerard Jean seemed to be preoccupied with big and small concerns. Contrary to that, there was an individual whose motto was to keep it simple. "What should I do with Alex when we meet on Monday? Pool rematch? Get food at Sharks? I'm getting hungry." Limp. Hey Teddy, where are you going? Ah, sporadic asshole. He just takes an umbrella from another class without thinking twice. The rain falls, a lone figure walks with a limp, the sound of an umbrella shielding him from the downpour. A group of students murmur amongst themselves, observing something unseen. Bro, this has gotta be up there with the best I've ever seen. Whoa, so ruthless. Gray Yun is the real deal. Him and Teddy Jean were… Teddy Jean? Give me that. Here, Bruce Lee, check this out man. Gray Yun from M versus Teddy Jean. A close-up on an intense, furious face. Video, send it to me too. Footsteps echo as someone walks. That megadouche Teddy Jean, just humoring that fucker is aging me. Seriously though, what kind of fight ends with that kind of a situation? Ah, and it doesn't end there. If Philip Kim finds out Jean lost, he'll surely come question me. Look of distress and worry washes over Dean Kwan's face. What the fuck am I supposed to say when I didn't even see any of it? All I did was walk out in the rain to get his damn backpack. I'm fucking soaked. What the hell? I'll just make something up. The sound of a door creaking open. Dean Kwan's expression shifts to confusion. Why is it so quiet? A group of students are gathered, some looking at their phones. Close-up on a phone screen showing a video of Gray Yun. The video shows a struggle, Gray Yun being overpowered. The students continue to watch the video, some with expressions of shock or amusement. Another close-up on the phone screen, focusing on the violent struggle. Dean Kwan looks on with disbelief. The fuck is that? The video shows a brutal assault with sounds of struggle. Philip Kim confronts Dean Kwan, holding up his phone. You care to explain what the hell this is? Start talking. Dean Kwan, flustered, stammers, yeah, about that. Donald Na's intense gaze pierces through the screen. Where's Jean? He left. That motherfucker is the sporadic kind. Sporadic my ass. He got busted up by a bitch and pussied out. Wow, that dickhead friend of yours. I'm not liking how he's acting. What about you? What were you doing while your buddy was getting kicked in the face? His expression contorts with a mix of disdain and annoyance. Oh, you know, I'm not really interested in bitch fights. Haha, I can't make myself look like a pussy too. He remains silent, a look of weary resignation on his face. Thought Teddy Jean was the type to be easily controlled, but it turns out he's the exact opposite. Sporadic and out of control. Annoying. Teddy Jean launches himself, delivering a brutal blow. Known Franker, due to the scar on his face. Could be taken care of by Teddy Jean. What the hell is up with this fucker? Whack. So you're not some small fry that'll submit easily, huh? Have I ever failed to get anything I wanted? Everybody's gangster until they're outnumbered, and I've never seen anyone who didn't fall to the long game. He used his bag as a hostage. Not bad. So that's how it is? Then it would have been cake if you'd just been there. So Teddy Jean wasn't as tough as I thought. Why yeah, that's right. This shit wouldn't have ever happened if I were there. I should appeal to him with some embellishment. I must admit, I'm a little disappointed, but it doesn't really make a difference to me whether it's Teddy Jean or Chad Jang that gets beat. And I already know that this idiot Chad Jang ranks below Teddy Jean. Just give them enough bait and they do everything they can to look good in my eyes. All I have to do is keep pumping out my units. And sail away. His fingers click away, orchestrating events from afar. Is to continuously harass the enemy until they finally give in. An infinite loop, twirl. I'll make sure to burn it into your brain and show you what psychological torture is until you come begging for forgiveness at my feet. In actuality, Chad Jang was just trying to make up excuses to get past the incident in order to stay by Philip Kim's side. But after receiving the video of the fight between Gray Yun and Teddy Jean, he was visibly shocked. He sits on the toilet, staring at his phone in disbelief. Jesus, fuck, this is what actually happened. What the fuck am I gonna do? Regardless, contrary to his gullible appearance, Chad Jang was the type to blatantly latch onto those with power out of some instinct to profit. Damn, Philip Kim, when you cop those kicks, they're nice. You're really pulling 'em off, man. They're fresh from off black. Monday, the imposing facade of Unjang High School looms under a cloudy sky. The camera pans down, revealing a lone student walking, head bowed. Further down the path, two students walk together, engrossed in their phones. In the foreground, a student with a backpack walks alone, head down. Suddenly, one student aggressively grabs another by the neck, shouting, "Yo, Alex!" Jimmy Bay, with Colton Choi slung over his shoulder, asks Eugene Gale, "So, how'd your journey to find yourself go? Was it fun?" Eugene weakly replies, "OH." Jimmy Bay, with a sinister grin, asks, "Are we having the rematch after school today?" Eugene Gale, his expression troubled, thinks, "The pool hall?" Teddy Jean, in a dominant pose over a distressed Gray Yun, declares that I'll be coming for him soon. Jimmy Bay, carrying Eugene Gale, dismisses the idea, saying, that can wait for another day. Jimmy Bay suggests, then let's just talk for a while after school before we go. Eugene, confused, asks, HUH? Jimmy Bay rummages through a red bag, his intentions unclear, as Eugene asks, talk for what? Jimmy Bay offers Eugene a carton of milk, saying, here. Jimmy Bay, with a condescending look, tells Eugene, you'll know when we talk, why dumbass. Eugene sips the drink, wondering, what is it? Ben never gives others stuff to eat. A sign on a door reads, 1-to-1. A loud durr echoes as a blonde-haired student with bandages over his eye and nose appears in a doorway. The student, Teddy Jean, glares with a sinister laugh, hehechi. Teddy Jean looks down at a group of students, sneering, look at that loser, hee. Camera focuses on Colton Choi and his group, who seem to be observing someone. One of the students, seemingly talking to Teddy Jean, thinks, Chad is ignoring me. Is he cutting me off cause I lost to Gray Yun? Teddy Jean, looking away, mutters, fuck me. Teddy Jean sits at a desk, looking dejected, thinking, well, this sucks. Exterior shot of a covered walkway on the school building. From inside, a student watches Eugene Gale outside, who is drinking from a can. The student approaches Eugene, asking, Ben, what was it you wanted to talk about? Another student, Gerard Jean, appears, causing Eugene to exclaim, Gerard Jean, what are you doing here? Gerard Jean stands tall, facing Eugene. Eugene looks shocked. Jimmy Bay, overhearing, says, HUHHH? Gosh, I told those bozos to keep their mouths shut. Jimmy Bay clarifies, IT wasn't the boys. I heard you told them to keep quiet about it. Jimmy Bay continues, I heard it from the part-timer at the pool hall yesterday with Gerard. From the dime you were drooling over. Jimmy Bay continues, I heard it from the part-timer at the pool hall yesterday with Gerard. From the dime you were drooling over. This is bad. I should call my boss. She was so terrified that day, she couldn't even manage to come in through the door. Alex, I know you tried to hide this because you were worried about me. Ben. But that maniac Jimmy Bay is biting and yanking at an old scar. Pop crush. I can't stand it anymore. Union or whatever the fuck it's called. I can't just keep looking over my shoulder for the next 3 years worrying about them. The union or whatever the fuck it's called. I can't just keep looking over my shoulder for the next 3 years worrying about them. What gives? Last time we clashed, it looked like you son was all bark, no bite. Jimmy Bay's a little different. He's only manageable because we have Ben. Thought he said he would come to see me himself, right? Then I guess I should get ready for that. If you're dealt the same tragedies over and over again, how should I put it? Ah yes, it breaks the human spirit. It's the most childish of tactics, but also the most effective, you know? Dangle, dangle. You go find it just to see that something else is missing. You go find that and it's gone before you know it. Oh, his phone's in here too. Hehehe. Don't you think your anger would eventually devolve into hopelessness if that happened to you? That fucker, Gray Yun, he's probably fed up with having his bag messed with. Hehe. There's no reason for me to get my own hands dirty. Right? Again, it's not even my bag and I'm getting fed up at this point. Philip Kim and his goons took off with it. He said to come get it at the incinerator at the rear gate after class. Should have stopped them from taking it in the first place and get my ass beat? Here at Unjang, nothing will change if I can't eliminate the root of this evil. Unless I completely pluck Philip Kim out by the root and destroy him, it would have been for nothing yet again. Grit, tat, pray. I'll go with you. Eugene Gale's face is etched with fear and sweat. He looks utterly terrified. Gray Yun turns away, his expression unreadable, a stark contrast to Eugene's panic. I may not be able to help at all, but I still want to go. I've been beaten up more than I can even remember through the years, so I pride myself on being able to take some hits. You'll only hold me back. This is my business. Stay out of it. Eugene Gale's face contorts with worry and indecision. Tremble. How am I supposed to turn my back after seeing you like that? I am scared, but there's no way I can just act like nothing's happening. Even if we die together, I'll be by his side. ADA. Students are seen walking into Unjang High School. 2 figures on motorcycles. One is engrossed in his phone, the other seems to be waiting. Vroom. A chillingly smug grin spreads across a young man's face, his eyes glinting with malice. 2 students, one with a predatory smirk and the other with a stoic expression, stand outside a building. Crag. Who PTO vroom FTTT pop 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 pop. My man Jackie, by the way, where's Helmet? I don't see him. Looks like he's been ignoring all our calls. I did hear that the boys saw him near the Yongdungpo roundabout. That dumb klutz. I'm telling you, that fool needs to be hooped on the regular to stay sharp. Hee. I've got to give it to Helmet. He makes for one hell of a punching bag. Hee. Fumble fumble. Group of students are gathered, some lounging by a motorcycle. One of them, with a smug grin, beckons someone over. You come over here. The target of the summons, a timid-looking student, reacts with alarm. Huh? Me? Colton Choi's smile widens, a predatory glint in his eyes as he elaborates. Yeah, you. I'm just trying to have a talk, so I'd appreciate it if you'd hurry the hell up, friend. The group, including Colton Choi, are on the street. The word rush is emblazoned in the background. The scene shifts to show another group of students, one with a backpack, another looking on with a worried expression. Colton Choi leans in close to Eugene Gale, his expression unsettling. Hey buddy, he begins but is interrupted. Another student introduces himself. My name is Jimmy Bay from Yusun High. Colton Choi's gaze intensifies as he makes a request. I was hoping you could grab Ben Park for me. Bring him to the incinerator over there. A hand reaches out to grab a bag. Colton Choi states, so I think I'll take care of your bag and wallet for now, to keep them safe. Colton Choi urges someone to move. Now, my Unjang friend, go, go, go. Another student, seemingly compliant, exclaims, you're really doing me a solid, friend. Colton Choi examines a wallet filled with cash. Let's have a look, shall we? He muses, while another thought surfaces. Damn, this kid's loaded. The group watches as someone walks away. The sound of footsteps, tap tap tap, echoes. Colton Choi gives an order to one of his companions. Go get me some smokes with this. A student points aggressively, shouting, that motherfucker. He's with Ben Park, too. Fucking Gerard Jean. Close up on a student's face, his expression unreadable beneath his bangs. Colton Choi makes another request. Get me a Marlboro. Another student responds, you got it. Colton Choi watches as a student walks away, a smirk playing on his lips. Colton Choi addresses someone, a hint of surprise in his voice. Wow, Treehead, you're Gerard Jean? I thought you'd accompany Ben when he makes his appearance. Student with bangs, Gerard Jean, seems distressed. It was today? Arg, I really can't be doing this right now. My part-time job. What do I do? A close-up on a pair of feet, the sound of footsteps, tap, can be heard. Colton Choi observes someone, making a crude remark. You are one lanky-ass motherfucker, aren't you? Student walks past a gate. A hand violently snatches at someone's collar. Colton Choi grabs Gerard Jean, shoving him forward. I sent word for Ben to come over, too, so shut up and follow me. The sound of hurried footsteps, ta-ta-ta, echoes as someone is forcefully moved down a hallway towards a door. A hand slams against a door. Eugene Gale, out of breath, finds Ben Park and another student. Ben Park, finally found you. Ben Park looks confused. Find me for what? Eugene Gale, still catching his breath, relays the message. A guy called Jimmy Bay from Yusun. He wants me to bring you to the incinerator. Two students exchange a look of concern. Student informs the others Gerard Jean from class 10 was taken away, too. A student shouts in disbelief, what? While another frantically tries to make a call, he won't pick up. One student yells in disbelief, what? While another frantically tries to make a call, he won't pick up. A group of students, some in uniforms, gather in a courtyard. One student sits alone on a bench, looking down. The camera focuses on a pair of blood-stained sneakers on the ground, surrounded by cigarette butts and small puddles. The sound effect FFFFT and split-splat emphasize the impact. Close-up shows a hand making a fist, with a sound effect FWIP. A dark duffel bag falls to the ground with a plop, scattering more cigarette butts around it. The scene suggests a struggle or a sudden event. Two figures, Philip Kim and Dean Kwan, are in conversation. Dean Kwan laughs while Philip Kim looks on. Below them, a close-up shows a stylish sneaker with a caption noting its cost. Dean Kwan asks Philip Kim about the duffel bag, inquiring, what's with this bag? Philip Kim replies, oh, this het is just from the fucker that beat up Helmet. A group of students, including Colton Choi, confront another student whose face is obscured by his hair. Colton Choi declares, you chumps are all dead now. A student with his face obscured by hair looks down, thinking, and then states, things are getting screwed up bad. The student who was previously obscured, now identified as Gray Yun, looks up with a smug expression as another student asks, the one who beat up Helmet? And a third exclaims, oh, that infamous psycho freak? Gray Yun sits on a bench, looking intrigued. He states, perfect, I was getting quite curious anyway. He then explains, you see, I told Helmet to go crush him. Scene shifts to a view from behind Gray Yun, who continues, and that pussy ended up going into hiding. Hee. A sharp, jagged dialogue bubble reads, sounds about right. That freak is trickier than you might think. In a tense scene, Jimmy Bay is shown with a menacing expression as he drags someone by the hair. He says, so I thought I'd group them all up to be dealt with today. Dean Kwan addresses Philip Kim, saying, yo Philip, if we finish this up properly today. Philip Kim looks at Dean Kwan with a sly grin, saying, don't worry, I got you. He thinks to himself, walking wallet. Dean Kwan, with a wide, unsettling smile and a mask covering his lower face, replies, don't worry, I got you. He thinks, teenage beggar. Two students glare intensely at another student who is being held by the hair. One of them says, I've really wanted to sock you in the face since the underpass. A student grabs another's hair, yanking it and asking, what the fuck is this mop on your head, boy? Student's head shakes violently as the attacker continues. Can you even see through all this? A group of students are gathered, some nodding and chuckling. The scene is tense and menacing. The sky is a fiery orange and red as trees are visible below. A thought bubble appears, stating, fuck it, I can't take this shit anymore. Suddenly, a powerful punch connects, indicated by the sound effect thwack. The student on the left recoils, while the student on the right appears to be the aggressor. A student is violently slammed to the ground, creating a powerful impact. A pained grunt, crew, is heard. Close-up on Gray Yun's face shows a determined, almost defiant expression. Feet are shown running, with the sound effects thump and thump indicating a rapid pace. The visual suggests pursuit. More running feet are depicted, emphasizing speed and urgency with thump and thump sounds, accompanied by tada-da. The sound of running continues with thump, and the tada-da sound effect plays again, indicating continued movement and perhaps a chase. A group of students are running, their faces showing determination and exertion. The sounds of thump and tada punctuate their movement. Students are running up a staircase, their movements heavy and powerful, marked by thump and tada. The sound of heavy footsteps echoes with each thump as the students push forward, their movements powerful and determined.